Hello, hi, I missed you all so much. Welcome back everybody to yet another iteration, another episode of the Daily Cooking stream of the Daily Cooking Show. I hope you're all having a beautiful Wednesday evening. Today is Wednesday, January 10th. If you're watching this live, it is currently 5 p.m. Eastern time, and it is good to see all of you in chat. Hello to Alexis, hello to Jack, hello to Lunar Trees, hello to Evil, of course, as well. Welcome on in, everybody. It's good to see all of you again. So, today's going to be a really special stream. I'm really excited to get into it. First and foremost, I have a question. Is everybody ready? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef. I see a couple of new faces in chat today. And so I want to make sure that everybody, is nice and included for something like this. Okay, yes, chef? Perfect. That's what I want to see. Excellent. Oh, everybody's coming through today. Hello to Rabbit. Hello, Miss Rich. Hello to Moon Boy as well. It's lovely to have every single one of you. Okay, so today is actually going to be a very special stream for me because this is something that I have a very strong food memory of. This is something that I have a lot of nostalgia for. This is something that I've not actually had in quite some time. What I'm going to be making for you today, everybody, I am going to, I see somebody in chat that has to be banned. I apologize really quickly. I don't have any mods right now at the moment. Okay, lovely. Hello, Liam, as well. Okay, everybody. Hi. So, I'm going to be making for you today something called Tlacoyos, or singularly just like Tlacoyo. So, you might be asking me, Daramgar, what is that? Well, let me tell you about it. It is this beautiful stuffed thing of masa, right? So you'd make like a corn dough, like a corn tortilla dough that you would do for tortillas, and you would stuff it. You would stuff it full of beans, you would fry it on either side, or you would sear it on either side, and then you would garnish it with all sorts of things. Traditionally, you would do some nopales, right? So you have like some cooked cactus that you'd put on top of it, and you would do like a salsa verde, and you would have some cheese with it. I'm not going to be doing any cactus today. I don't have any available near me, so I'm just going to garnish it. We're going to make a beautiful homemade salsa verde. We have some beautiful tomatillos. We have some beautiful serrano chilies. I'll show that off in a second. And additionally, everybody, yesterday, I made for the first time my own homemade cheese. And yes, Rabbit, you can absolutely eat cactus. It depends. Like, there's different types of edible cactus. But everybody, I made some homemade Queso Fresco. Okay, and this I'm actually quite proud of. And I've realized how easy this was to actually do. I had a quart of milk out of a thing of milk that was about to go bad. It was getting a little bit old, and it still like smelled good, but it only had a couple of days left, and I knew I wouldn't be able to drink that much milk in such a short amount of time. And so I made a lot of beautiful Queso Fresco. And Queso Fresco, right, essentially a type of farmer's cheese, right, goes by a lot of different names, farmer's cheeses and cottage cheeses. It's all kind of the same thing. This is going to go on top of the actual finished Tlacoyo. Also, welcome on in, Jay. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. And so I'm really proud of this stuff. It's super tasty. It's super sweet almost. It's going to make an excellent garnish for what we're making today. Okay, let me go ahead and set that aside. And so, my friends, we have to actually talk about the Tlacoyo itself. We're going to be, of course, using a little bit of maseca, as always, okay? So this is nixtamalized corn. It's been corn that's been treated. It's been ground up. This is, of course, the instant ready-made version. Traditionally, you would use like fresh like nixtamal, fresh nixtamalized corn. In this case, I'm just going to be using classic maseca, and I'm going to show you how to make the dough and prepare it for today. Super simple. It's going to be the same exact idea as the tortillas before. And then, everybody, thanks to a certain somebody, I am now the proud owner of this massive hunk of metal. And you might be asking me, Daramgar, what is this massive hunk of metal? My friends, this is my new tortilla press. Oh, it's really heavy, and I'm trying my best to try and juggle this in my hands. And maybe this is a mistake, and maybe I should first set it down. Let's go to the overhead camera. Flour from Ukraine by any chance? I'm not sure what you're asking me, but I am Russian Jewish. Okay, let me show you my tortilla press, everybody. Let me show you this thing. This is my Doña Rosa tortilla press. It is beautiful. And so, my friends, it's really, really important to have a really nice tortilla press. This is powder-coated steel, I believe, Luna. So good question. This is powder-coated steel. And so, my issue before in the past was I didn't have that good of a tortilla press, and it wouldn't be able to press things thin enough, and it wasn't big enough. And so, we're actually going to be able to get things to be the correct size with this. I'm really, really excited about it. You'd be surprised the difference of having like a heavy, proper tortilla press would make. And so, I have no idea how I'm actually going to fit it on the camera, considering it already barely fits into the frame. But we'll figure it out, I'm sure. I want that, and Liam, it's a good investment. Yeah, it's a good investment. So thank you. Of course, we had a little special somebody help us out with that. and we'll be able to show that off later. And traditionally, you wouldn't necessarily use a tortilla press for making tlacoyos, but I will be doing it so that it's really, really nice and thin. You can fold it over easily. Also, welcome on in, possum. But yes, the beauty of a tortilla press like this, we can get a very nice thin thing of dough. We get to fill it up with the beans, and I'm going to show you, my friends, the filling that we're going to do for it as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and set my tortilla press behind me. This, my friends, before the stream started, I made a batch of my beautiful, dare I even say famous, black beans. Okay? These are my famous little black beans, and they're super, super delicious. I had some epazote for them today. I cooked them with a little bit of sazon. Cooked them down really, really nice, low and slow, really delicious, really, really creamy stuff. And these we're going to refry. We're going to refry them with a little bit of chorizo. We're going to refry them with some onion, with some garlic, and then we're going to mash it up and make the beautiful stuffing for the tlacoyos, right? So again, this is not particularly traditional to do like chorizo refried beans to stuff into a tlacoyo. Usually it would just be like plain mashed up beans. I just wanted some meat. You don't have to do it like that. You can just use some plain mashed up cooked beans. And this is of course the chorizo that we'll be using for today, my friends. Right? So I'm going to use just basically half of this. We're going to crumble it up. We're going to make the refried beans with it. And then finally, everything that we need for today's salsa verde. Right? So I have some lovely little tomatillos. I'm going to show you exactly how we prepare them. And I have some lovely little serrano chilies as well. So the tomatillos we ended up peeling. We peeled them off of the skin. And we just gave them a nice little wash. And I'm going to show you everything that we're going to do for it. So we have quite a few components to make, my friends. We have to make the salsa verde, we have to make the refried beans, we have to make the masa, and then finally, we assemble it all together into one beautiful tlacoyo. So, my friends, I have one question for all of you right now. Is everybody ready? I want to hear a nice, universal, unanimous, resounding yes, chef, from everybody in chat at the moment. Oh, perfect. Jack is coming in. Excellent. John as well. Elian. Oh, it's so good to have all of you. I'm so happy to see you guys. Okay. Excellent. And by the way, everybody, before we begin, I'm going to do some basic housekeeping. Everybody, to help continue to keep the streams free to watch for everybody without advertisements, I could use a little bit of help on my Patreon. You can type an exclamation mark Patreon, scroll down, or go into my About section. It'll really help. It'll mean the world to me. Just trying to help cover the grocery cost of everything because cooking streams are expensive. Okay, that's enough shilling, everybody. Let's talk about the actual maseka. We have to do the dough first. And also, yes, Jack, we will be doing that one point. Not today, though. Not today. So, my friends, this is just about the easiest dough that you can possibly make, okay? This is going to be the easiest dough that you can possibly make. And if anybody has watched my streams in the past, you will know that I absolutely hate working with most types of dough at home. But all we really need to do, we have a little kettle. We're going to fill it up with some water, okay? And we are going to, also, Moon Boy, thank you so much for the gifted sub. That's very appreciated. What was I going to say? This is a super simple dough, my friends. To make a masa, all you need is the maseka, the nixtamalized corn, and some water. And I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is. Okay? I, typically speaking, in a home setting, do not like to work with doughs. I find them to be a hassle at best. Okay? It takes a lot of effort to be able to get it done. You have to roll it out, you have to flour the surface. The beauty with working with masa is that you don't have to worry about any of that because it is just 2 ingredients and you don't really have to knead it, you just have to combine things and get them together. So my friends, that being said, let's set up the station for it today. You want a bowl that's a little bit too big. In fact, I think the camera could afford to zoom out a little bit. I think we're a little close for comfort at the moment. Okay, that's a little nicer, right? I feel like we're not as like claustrophobic now. Okay, my friends, you want a bowl that's a little bit too big. And the reason for that is because at some point you're going to go in there with your hands and mix it up. And if you have a bowl that is volumetrically equally proportioned to the amount of ingredients that you're gonna have, it's all gonna spill out when you put your hands inside. Okay, next part. My friends, one of the beauties about doing a masa, one of the beauties about doing a corn dough like this is you do not need to have exact measurements either. You're going to go by feel, and I'm going to teach you how to go by feel. Once again, you can't just use cornstarch, you can't use any corn flour, right? You're going to have to use something like maseka, okay, or any other nixtamalized corn that you can find somewhere. And we're not measuring a cup or anything, we're not doing anything crazy like that, my friends. I'm going to show you, super easy, super, super simple. All we're going to do, we're just measuring out whatever quantity of maseka this is. whatever that is. I have no idea how much it is. Is that a cup? Is that a cup and a half? In fact, I just want to do a little less because we're not going to be making too many today. Okay? And then we're going to use basically a little bit less volume-wise, proportionately of water. That's it. That's all you really have to do. And just in case you want to keep this around, in case your dough gets a little bit too wet. But the beauty of a dough like this is you're not really needing for gluten or anything. All you're looking to do is just incorporate all of the different ingredients. Also, welcome on in, Zumalavo. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Okay, next, let's set up my station. I want to make sure that I have a nice little coaster set aside. And we're going to have a nice little spoon to mix everything in with. So, hot water, doesn't have to be boiling hot, I just threw some water into the kettle. The idea is this, we're going to pour in some water, basically the same amount of liquid as we have dry. We're going to mix it around with a spoon, and then once it's mostly mixed around, we're going to take our hand and incorporate the rest of it. The reason we don't start with a hand is because it is effectively hot boiling water, okay? So, super simple, just 2 ingredients, just the Maseka, just the hot water. Is everybody following along so far? Does everybody understand? So, basically the same exact amount of water, and again, you want to keep your kettle of water around, right, because you're going to just adjust it as needed. And then you're just going to pour it in. That's all it takes, my friends. You're going to pour it in, and then you're going to take a little spoon, right, because this is a little too hot to handle at the moment. Take a little spoon, go at it, mix in some of the water, and then we're going to adjust it for the moisture. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. I learned from some of the best. I learned from Mr. Internet Shaquille himself. But basically, we're going to be ultimately looking for a dough that doesn't crack when we press it down. We don't want it to crack when it presses down, but we don't want it to stick to your hands either. We just want it to slightly stick to your hands without leaving any kind of residue. Okay? So we're just chopping up any of the big clumps of moisture that we have left. And once again, if anybody has any questions about this process, please ask me. And if you have a good question, I'll even show it up on the screen. So, chopping all of it up, nice and easy. Oh, guys, I'm so excited to use my new tortilla press today. I genuinely cannot wait. Okay, great. And now, we're going to just scrape it off, and I'm going to glove up for this because I do have eczema, and I want to protect my hands and keep it as gentle as possible. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a hand, I'm going to glove up, and I'm just going to get in there. And we're going to try to break up all of the different clumps of moisture, get it distributed. And once we have a cohesive ball of dough, we'll add a little bit of water. So, this is a really good question. So, Uber Bounty asks me, what exactly is refrying? Just literally frying them in a pan. And that's a really good question. And what I think is especially interesting about this is that it's actually not particularly fried again. When people think about refried beans, I would argue that saying that it's twice fried is a bit of a mistranslation. If anything, it's twice cooked. So you have your initial boiling stage of the beans, right? We made the big pot of beans, and all we're going to do is essentially heat it up again and mash it up into a paste. But the beans themselves aren't frying. The only thing that will be frying are the onions. So to say that it's actually refried beans, I would actually say is a little bit misleading. Okay, so this is now cooled down enough that we can use our hands. And Uber Bounty, I hope that answers your question. It's a really good question, and it was a mistake that I used to make. I was always really confused about it. I was like, why is this called refried beans? Despite the fact that they're not really fried again, you do add a bunch of fat though. And in this case, we'll have the chorizo fat going inside to make it really luxurious and really beautiful. And you can already see, my friends, with just a little bit of incorporation, with just a little bit of mixing, the tortilla dough, the masa, is all coming together, okay? And we're going to just break up any of the clumps of moisture. We're going to make sure that we're incorporating all of the dry, not wasting anything, right? We have our spoon here still. We'll just scrape it up and we'll put it back in. And we will adjust as needed. And again, I love doing this at home. I think everybody should be making homemade tortillas. They're super simple. They require almost nothing. You don't even have to use a tortilla press, even though I'd highly recommend one. Everybody should be doing these because let me tell you, store-bought tortillas are inedible once you've tried fresh ones. So, is there a reason for no salt in tortilla dough? Asks Possum, and the answer is purely preference. You want to sometimes keep things intentionally bland, so that other things can compensate for them. For example, in a lot of, let's say, like Chinese cooking, you wouldn't necessarily salt your rice because the other components are supposed to be seasoned enough, right? And so you could salt this theoretically if you wanted to, but the idea is the rest of your components to be seasoned enough. Dissolve some cornstarch in water and add the corn flour to make the tortilla harder when you cook it. You don't add cornstarch to corn tortillas. No. You only do nixtamalized corn. I've never seen a corn tortilla that has cornstarch added to it. If you mean like make it crispier, Jack, that's completely new to me. I've never seen anything quite like it. Okay. We're kneading it like we mean it, just as Audio Murphy said. We're getting in there. We're getting it done. And again, we're not really looking to develop any gluten or anything. All we're looking to do is just fully incorporate it. And so, I can already tell you right now that this dough is way too dry, okay? Because watch this. Let's roll it up into a ball in our hands, right? We're going to flatten it. And look at the way, the more we flatten it, the more those edges crack, okay? This is where your intuition and feel has to come into play. Because of the fact that it is cracking, we're going to get very dry, poorly hydrated tortillas, or rather, Tlacoyos. Okay, and we want a nicely delicious hydrated dough. So let's flatten that out. We're gonna pour in another big old splash of water, 1, 2, and we're going to mix it all in. It is too brittle, yes, absolutely, Jack. Okay, and it's gonna be a little hot, and it's gonna take a second to cool back down once we incorporate the rest of the dough. Don't you worry, it'll be better in just a second. But yes, my friends, the biggest mistake here is that you can have a tortilla dough that's a little too dry, okay, or a masa that's too dry. So, press it in there, and we just gotta break up all the moisture, and once this is done, all we have to do is wrap it up, and we can proceed with everything else. The reason we have to get this done first in advance is because we have to fully hydrate the corn, actual like nixtamalized corn, and that takes about 30 minutes to fully hydrate it, to fully hydrate all that starch. Okay, and now you're pressing it out, and you can see this is now taking on a lot more of a Play-Doh-like consistency. Okay, and if this ever gets too wet, we can always adjust it, my friends. That's the beauty of doing something like this. It's completely by feel. And yes, absolutely, Rabbit. We're gonna wrap it in some plastic wrap to stop it from drying. You got it. Perfect. And you can already see this is a lot more supple, right? It's a lot more hydrated. We're going to mix it around a little bit longer. No, Uber Bounty. Tlacoyos, I'm trying to figure out if there is like a different thing I can probably compare it to. It's just dough that's stuffed with something and then cooked after it is stuffed, right? So it's basically like a little pastry almost, but I wouldn't call it a pastry because it's still made out of masa. Okay. Almost done, my friends. Well, again, just making sure that all of that moisture is evenly distributed on the inside, and this can take in more liquid than you actually think, okay? This can take in more liquid than you think. Let's take another clump of dough. Let's roll it around, and you can already see when we press it down, cracks are forming a lot less, but they're still slightly forming on the edges. I would actually argue this can take a little bit more. And yes, my friends, please, please, please Google it. Please Google exactly what a tlacoyo looks like, okay? And you'll see them, and we're gonna shape them. I've never shaped one, and I haven't made one in 8 years. I've not eaten this in 8 years. This is a very special dish to me. I was very lucky to have it when I was in Mexico City. When I was younger, I had the privilege of being able to travel. And I remember making these. Oh, yeah, you know what? Elias wouldn't be the worst comparison. Yeah. Also, welcome in, boys. But yes, I was 13 years old. This was a dish that I absolutely fell in love with. It was super simple. It was just stuffed with beans, and it was garnished with like the cheese and the salsa and the cactuses after, and it was super delicious. Like the actual dough itself gets like really, really crispy. The inside is nice and warm and melty almost. And then you have like all of your seasonings and stuff on the outside. Right? This would be a street food. This would be like a home food. And traditionally, you'd make this on a comal, right? On like a big, 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 like flat metal sort of like cooking tray. But we're just gonna do this in my carbon steel pan. And the difference is when we actually get to cooking this, we're not going to do this on a high temperature like we do the tortillas. We're actually going to do this on a medium heat. So the texture of it is actually gonna be quite different. It's not gonna be like flaky and chewy like a tortilla is. It's going to be a little bit more crunchy. And have I ever been to New Orleans? I have not. I would love to go to New Orleans sometimes, Pueblo. It'd be excellent. Okay, take a look. That is exactly what this dough, a little masa, should look like, okay? One more final iteration. Let's go out and ball it up in our hands. Let's flatten it. And you can see how smooth this edge is. Look how smooth this edge is. That, my friends, is now a perfectly done thing of masa. Look at it, beautiful, huh? Lovely little moist texture of Play-Doh, essentially. And now we're just gonna roll it up in a ball. Roll it up in a ball so that we don't have like any cracks of air or anything. Really compress it, really pack it down. And then we're gonna hit it with some plastic wrap. Question, what is your favorite cheese? Jack, I love Jarlsberg cheese. Love Jarlsberg. That's my favorite. And John Dahlia, how can you tell if it's too wet? Oh, such a good question. John, your masa is too wet if it sticks to your hands and leaves a residue, right? So you can already see this just easily peels away from my hand and doesn't leave any residue on it. Okay? But that's a really good question. And if it's too dry, it'll crack. And so, if it doesn't stick to your hand and it doesn't crack like that, that's how you know you have a perfect ball of masa. Also, welcome on in, Dr. Slowbro. Hope you're having a day as beautiful as you are today. Welcome on in. Okay, that's all it takes, my friends. Did you see how easy that was? And I was talking through it the whole time. I promise, making the dough for this is half the work. The other half is actually going to be pressing it out and making it nice and flat. But everybody, and I mean everybody, should be making their own tortillas at home. It's cheaper, it's easy. Okay, it's cheaper, it's easy, and more importantly, you get something really, really delicious. Even though we're not making tortillas today, we're gonna be making tlacoyos. I'm going to go ahead and set this bowl behind me. Okay, that had to get done in advance because we want to let that dough sort of hydrate. Not necessarily rest, but we want it to hydrate until we're ready to cook with it. Okay, I'm gonna take a second, I'm gonna put a couple of things away. Does anybody have any questions in the meantime? While I just put some stuff away here and there. We no longer need my kettle of hot water. Yes. Oh, Dasky, I love Jarlsberg cheese so much. Highly recommended. Highly. Okay. Gonna go ahead and put my masa away. I should also probably put the cheese away. There's no reason for the cheese to be out. It's only gonna get finished with the cheese at the end. And then I also have this like spoon that we just did stuff with, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that into the dishwasher. Because remember, everybody, you have to clean as you go. You have to clean as you go. Because we're cooking at home, right? You don't have a dedicated dishwasher. If you do, great, very happy for you. Otherwise, you wanna be cleaning it as you go at all times, even for me. Hence why I'm taking a second to do this. Okay, I put stuff into the dishwasher. So my friends, I want to emphasize something. To me, this is the epitome of home food. Everything here is using a lot of like really, really stable ingredients, a lot of things that are really good in a home setting, and things that I've even saved. For example, this Queso Fresco that I already put into the fridge, the cheese that I made, was made out of milk that was about to go bad. Okay? I'm really, really happy about that. We're able to get this really, really fresh Queso Fresco instead of having to go out and buy some more. I made a beautiful pot of beans just using some dried black beans. I don't have to show you how to do that today because we make beans all the time on stream. I'm just really, really happy about everything that this dish is. I can't seem to find any good tlacoyos in New York. I haven't had this in 8 years. And so I want to be able to recreate the taste that I have such a strong memory of. Okay, my friends, next. We're going to go ahead and make the salsa verde, okay? And so, as always, everybody, I have a question. What is the thing that we do anytime that I make a salsa on the stream? Anytime that I make a salsa on the stream, what is the thing that we do to all of the vegetables? So all the things that are going to go into the salsa, what do we do with it? This is a very simple question. Yes, Achilles, this is the point. That's the point. Yes, Jack. You got it. Roast it. Specifically, we're going to char it. I set my broiler on to high, and we're going to go ahead and char all of the vegetables. Okay? We're going to go ahead and char them. So, I have a sheet tray ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and line this with some foil really quickly. That's right. We're going to char it. Because remember, my friends, one of the most important tastes in all of Mexican cooking is the char. It is the smoky component. It is the intentional burning. That is how you give things a really, really special depth of flavor. The idea isn't to just roast it and get things sweet. The idea is to burn it and add a lovely smokiness into the dish. Okay? That is one of the most, I guess, just like forgotten about things in Mexican cooking that people don't really think about. It is super, super important. Okay, so let's get my station nice and ready. We basically have some tomatillos and we have some serranos. The tomatillos are going to be the base of the salsa verde, and the serranos are going to be the base of the heat. Okay, so let's begin. I have my lovely little plate of tomatillos right here. We're going to go ahead and cut them in half, and we're going to take the core out of them. Because the core of the tomatillo is really, really woody. Okay, it's got a fairly woody texture that we do not want at all. So as always, I have a waste bowl set up and ready to go, where we're going to dump everything out. And so these are little teeny tiny tomatillos. Dare I say, this is basically like a tomatillito, right? Super tiny. So cut these bad boys in half, just like so. And then you're going to go in here, and you're going to make a little diagonal incision, okay, and cut out the core of it. Okay, and the reason you're doing this again, because we're going to blend up the salsa after. You don't want any of that woody stem inside, okay? So we have a lot of tomatillos to actually go through. Ideally, you would want a slightly bigger one, right? But this was all that I had available to me. I've never really had tomatillos that are so tiny before, but it's okay, country girls make do. And typically, my friends, people, they say that you can't really make like a raw salsa or like a salsa cruda out of tomatillos. People say that they're like poisonous. I think they'll just give you like a tummy ache, but I don't know if you could get poisoned from them necessarily. Poison might be the wrong word. But yes, typically these things aren't so small. And we have a lot to go through. It's going to be a bit of an annoying process. What's nice about having big tomatillos is that you have less of them to actually cut the core out of, you know. But in this case, we have to be really careful not to cut ourselves. Yes, I'm sorry guys, these are just normal sized tomatillos. I am 7'4". I forgot, my apologies. And all the while, the broiler is getting nice and hot. Or if you're in the UK, the grill. Okay, because again, the idea is we want to char the tomatillo skins, we want to char the serrano skins. Man, is this knife dull again? What happened to you? Huh. It is not happy going through these tomatillos. Okay. Pop that out, get them out of here, perfect. Or you could also just lie it flat like this and do it like that to save a little bit of time, but you're wasting a little bit more of the core that way. I think that's what I might just do instead, because they are so tiny. I didn't get any of the core with that one. Just a bunch of diagonal incisions, my friends. Use a serrated knife? No, I think my knife ended up dulling because of the knife case that it was in. I think it was rubbing up against some plastic, is what genuinely happened. Okay? We have a lot to go through. This is a lot of tomatillos, my friends. But it's okay, we'll get it done. Does anybody have any questions in the meantime? Does anybody want to know anything about this process? Yeah, I mean, a serrated knife is useful, but you don't necessarily need a serrated knife if you have sharp enough knives. Yeah, that is struggling. Whoa. I might have to retire this knife for today. Also, whoever the anonymous gifter was, thank you so much for the 3 gifted subs, or 3 months of subs to Possum. I don't have a notification for that, but thank you. Well, I don't know if I had a notif or not, actually. Guys, I have a question. Have the sub notifs been coming through today? Because they've been kind of missing from my end. Ah, my hair is falling down on my face again. You heard it? Oh, that's so weird. I'm not getting them today. Whoa. I don't know why that's the case. Okay. Hi. So, once again, we're processing all of these tomatillos, my friends. Thank you for your patience. It is really, really appreciated. Ah. Okay, great. If it's popping up for you guys, then it's popping up. But I don't know how poisonous it is. That's my only thing. I just feel like people say it is, but surely having one raw tomatillo can't hurt you, besides maybe give you like a stomachache. That's my thought. All right. Also, I'm not sure. Are tomatillos actually just unripe tomatoes? Or are they an entirely different plant? I feel like I should know a little bit more about this, considering I use and I cook with them so much. I have a feeling that they're a completely different, maybe not a completely different plant, but I have a feeling they're more than just unripe tomatoes. They are a different plant. Okay, great. I was correct. Oof. Yeah, that knife, my friends. What is going on with you today? Not happy about that at all. That's right, you got the Gengar emote. Congratulations. Okay, I'm taking a second to fix whatever is going on with my hair today, because it is falling on my face. It's one of those days. Guys, look at all these little Pac-Men. Look at all these little Pac-Men. Look how many we have. Ah. We're going through so many. So many. This is a bit of a hassle. So, my friends, learn from me and learn from my mistakes. Get bigger tomatillos. Get bigger ones. Don't do what I'm doing here. We have 2 left to go, 3 left to go rather. Is everybody ready for the final ones? Ooh, slipped a little bit. Wah, I was gonna sneeze. Okay, almost done. Also, welcome on in, Moonha. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Okay, final ones. Pop that out. I might have gotten overboard with how many I've gotten. Okay, final one has now officially been chopped. And now we're just taking the core out one more time. 1 and 2. Perfect. Okay, why the glove? Achilles, it's because I do have eczema on my hands. And so I want to be nice and gentle to him. So my friends, for the serrano, we're going to cut the head off. And then we're going to just slice it in half lengthwise. You can take the seeds out if you want. I want to keep the seeds in because I want a really, really spicy salsa verde. We're going to be using 3 serranos for today. In fact, what I'll do is I'll actually just blend up 2. And then I'll see if I want even more. Okay? The serranos, we're just cutting the head off and we're cutting it in half. Also, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Whoa, that was really sweet of you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, wow, we have somebody really coming through today. Thank you so much. So, my friends, take a look. We have this beautiful chitre full of serranos, full of tomatillos. They've been first washed off. And then we're going to do a few garlic cloves. I'm not doing any onion today in my salsa. I want like a very, very clean tasting salsa verde. So it's just going to be the serranos. It's just going to be the tomatillos. And we're going to do a few garlic cloves as well for a little bit of extra flavor. Okay? And so the garlic cloves, I'm going to show you what we do with them. We're just going to do 2 things of garlic. Actually, that's a really big clove. We might even just do the 1. We'll just do the 1. I don't want too much garlic, my friends. I just want a very slight taste of it, a little bit of extra sweetness to the whole thing. Also, Dosky, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Really, really appreciate it. That was really sweet of you. Okay, so garlic. Here's what we're going to do, my friends. We're actually going to keep the skin on. We keep the skin on because garlic, compared to the tomatillos and the serranos, has the highest likelihood of burning, and burning garlic actually leads to a very acrid, unpleasant flavor, okay? It's not the kind that you're really, really looking for in something like a salsa. So, I'm going to go ahead and take this over to my stove for a second. And once again, this sheet tray is now fully ready to go, okay? That's the tomatillos, that's the serranos, and we have 1 garlic clove. We have the broiler preheated. The goal now is to char the top of it. We're going to char the top of it. We're going to get it nice and smoky. And then we're going to cook it down in a little bit of water. We're going to boil it and then blend it up. And then we're going to finish it with some cilantro at the end. Okay? Yes, 170 gift subs is crazy. Dusky is the goat. So, my friends, remember, number 1 safety tip when you're working with a broiler is that things can and will catch on fire if left unattended. Things can and will catch on fire if left unattended. You're going to have to baby this. You're going to have to look out for it. Don't walk away from the kitchen. You're going to take a look on it every minute or 2. Because the beauty of a broiler is that you're not really worried about the air temperature. You only care about the super hot temperature on top. You know when people say, oh, don't open the oven. You're letting all the air out. You're letting all the hot air out. That doesn't matter with a broiler because it's just that super intense temperature on top. Okay? So you don't really care about the whole oven climate or anything. No, we're not going to leave the door open because that's just going to heat up the whole thing. And if I open the oven door, it's just going to be a walking hazard for myself. So, a little bit of a recap session. We've accomplished 2 things just now. We've made the masa for the tlacoyos, right? Which you can then also use for tortillas. Nice and hydrated, beautiful ball of dough. Ooh, that feels so good. Nice and bouncy, huh? And then currently in the broiler, we have the tomatillos, the serranos, and a little bit of garlic. And so, we're going to make a lovely little salsa verde today while the dough rests, and then we're going to work on some chorizo refried beans. And so, the salsa verde is going to be really simple. Once it comes out of the broiler, it's going to go into a little bit of water. We're going to boil it, and we're going to take a hand blender to it. So let's set up the water right now for it. Just a little saucepan, nothing crazy, you know, super simple. We're going to do a little splash of water. Right, and this is just going to be ready for whenever the tomatillos and the serranos come out, okay? And in the meantime, so here's what I like doing. I don't typically love blending cilantro. I like to just finish it with some chopped cilantro at the end. So we're going to go ahead and work on some cilantro right now. And keepers, what is tlacoyos? Beautiful question. Tlacoyos are this really, really classic Mexican dish, right? It's a pre-colonial dish even, where it is masa, aka like your corn, nixtamalized corn dough, that is then stuffed with beans, folded up, and it's kind of in like the shape of like a football almost. And then you put it on a hot stove, on a hot pan, and then you finish it off with some queso fresco, you finish it off with some salsa verde, your cilantro, your onion, and it's really, really beautiful, super easy to do. I love it, and it's not something that I've had in quite some time. Yes, okay, so that water is just ready to go for whenever we need it, and the only other component to the salsa, my friends, okay, because it's going to be really simple salsa. It's just going to be the serranos, it's just going to be the tomatillos. The tomatillos bring the acidity, a little bit of garlic brings the sweetness, the serranos bring the heat and a very strong vegetal component, and the cilantro is going to be for the freshness at the end. So, I've talked about this a million times, my friends. This is how I keep my fresh herbs in the fridge, and I keep them for a week this way. This is what I do. Everybody, I want you to listen after me. I want you to repeat after me. Is everybody listening right now? Maybe not repeat after me. I just want to hear yes, chef. I want to make sure that I have your attention right now. Okay? So, cilantro. This cilantro right here. What I do every single time before you're ready to cook, go get your cilantro, get your parsley, whatever fresh soft herb that it is that you buy. You're going to wash it, you're going to soak it, you're going to put it in a salad spinner, and you're going to prep it like this. The number one mistake I see people make is they buy all of their produce, right? And then when they're ready to cook, they finally take it out of the bag, and then they take their cilantro and they run it under some water, and they have this sopping wet thing of cilantro, probably still full of sand, still full of dirt, okay? And then they're like, oh, okay, now it's ready to cook, and they put this wet cilantro on a cutting board, and it makes a mess. Everybody, this cilantro has been thoroughly dried, and we're keeping it nice and fresh in a little Tupperware, in a little container with a paper towel. The paper towel helps to regulate the humidity. If it's too wet, it's going to get brown. If it's too dry, it's going to get yellow and kind of crunchy. The paper towel is a very nice humidity regulator inside of the Tupperware that can keep it for like 5-6 days in pristine condition like this. Okay? I always do this. Always, always, always do this. And then you can just pull it out whenever you're ready to go. Always pre-wash your herbs. It just makes your life so much easier, my friends. Always pre-wash it. It is such an important thing in your kitchen ecosystem, in your routine. It makes it last longer if you do it this way. They don't go bad as easily. And when you're ready to cook, you can just pull it out and you're ready to go. You don't have to wash, you don't have to do anything else. Do this kind of prep in advance and you will save your life, my friends, I promise you. Okay, so we need a little bit of cilantro for the salsa verde itself, and we're going to need some cilantro for garnish, and we're going to do that all at once at the moment. Okay? What if I like eating bugs, boss? Well, then you know what? Keep it in and get the extra protein. Harder herbs like thyme and rosemary, John, I store them the exact same way. I store them the exact same way, although they don't need necessarily as rigorous washing, because stuff like the parsley and the cilantro, they're full of like sand and dirt. And my friends, let me tell you right now, this bad boy is one of my favorite kitchen tools. This is a salad spinner. You put things inside, and it immediately dries them off. And then you spin it, and it's super fun to use. This is already fully dried, of course. I don't need to use this at the moment. I just wanted to show it off. I think everybody should own a salad spinner. I love using it for fresh herbs. Anytime you're working with lettuces and stuff, it's really, really good to have. Okay, actually, I'm going to quickly, because I was babbling. I spent quite a bit of time babbling. We're going to go ahead and check on my beautiful tomatillos and serranos that are currently in the broiler. And now take a look, my friends. Take a look. Look at it. It's getting nice and charred, but that's not enough. I want to push these things further. I want to burn the shit out of the skin because it's going to make the salsa nice and smoky and delicious, okay? So we're going to give it a little rotation, and then we're going to go ahead and pop it back in under the broiler, and we're going to get our salsa nice and smoky. A few minutes more, my friends, a few minutes more. You want to burn it. You want to char it, okay? So back to this. Once again, as always with cilantro, I'm not crazy about the texture of the stems. Feel free to pick these off if you would like. But all I'm going to do is just get rid of like the really big, thick stems. And we're going to get all the little leaves, my friends. And so, once again, I do want to emphasize, I like to not blend in my cilantro, typically speaking, for my salsas. Or if I'm blending some in, I like to add some freshly chopped at the end as well. Traditionally, when you're making a salsa, like in a real, like, let's say like old school, like Mexican household, you wouldn't be using a blender. You would use a mortar and pestle. You'd use a molcajete. Or basically, what I also used, there's like this big rolling pin made out of volcanic stone. the super, super big rolling pin made out of volcanic stone. I forgot what it's called. And then you would sort of grind things against like a really big flat piece of volcanic stone as well. And so salsa would be made in one of two vehicles. And the beauty of using something like that, actually grinding it as opposed to blending it, which cuts it, the texture you get is very different. You're able to disintegrate things like the tomatillo skins, things like the serrano skins, and you're able to still keep it quite chunky. You're able to grind the skins and keep the flesh chunky, and that's how you get a very special texture. I would love to get an actual like proper molcajete. I should probably add one to my throne wish list or something. Okay, but yes, yeah, I really do think charring is one of the most essential and completely forgotten about components when people think about Mexican cooking. It adds the smokiness. There's so much flavor that actually comes out of the charring process, my friends. You have no idea. Okay, so we gotta go to the big stems. Once again, I'm going to just continue to baby my tomatillos. I'm going to just keep taking a look at them because again, I don't want anything to catch on fire. We don't want to push anything too far. And in fact, this is the point where I'll stop. That is exactly my stopping point, my friends. Take a look at that. That is a beautiful tray of tomatillos, of serranos, and the one garlic clove that we had. Okay, and now let's actually get things together and let's get them going and let's get it boiling because we don't really need to boil the cilantro per se, but we just want to boil the other vegetables. We want to make sure that they're nice and cooked. We want to make sure that they're nice and soft and ready for a blending. Okay. A fish spatula might be a little too aggressive here. I think I'm just going to use my tongs in this case. I'm going to have my back turned towards all of you, but I'm going to keep chat open. So a little bit of water. Don't worry about getting like too much water. You just want to make sure that you have a little medium to cook everything in. The garlic clove. So the beauty of having the garlic clove like this is that we get to easily peel it off of the skin. And that's why we kept the skin on to protect it. Okay? So all the tomatillos, my friends, all the serranos going in now. And we're going to boil it, my friends. We're going to boil it and we're going to get it fully cooked. Really, really simple. Guys, I'm telling you, making homemade salsas is so easy. It is so perfect. It's so cheap, and more importantly, you get such a very special taste by actually charring components fresh yourself. It keeps in the fridge for a few days, and you get to put it on everything. You get to put it on your eggs for breakfast. It's just the best, okay? Store-bought salsas are so trash. They're really brutal. They're really, really inedible unless they're like locally freshly made at like your local like Mexican like supermarket or something. Store-bought salsas are pretty bad. They're just rough. They're not the same thing at all. Look how easy this was. All we did is we just char the components. We're gonna boil it and then we're gonna blend it, and that's all it takes. And we're gonna finish it with some salt. And then, my friends, remember the garlic clove. Because of the fact that we kept it in the skin, we're able to just easily pop that skin out like nobody's business and toss it in and let that get soft too. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, my friends. That's all you need in order to make a beautiful homemade salsa. Okay, and now we're gonna let it boil. We're going to get the cilantro ready for it. We're going to soften up all of those vegetables and we'll get it together. And so again, ideally, I would love to have a molcajete. I don't actually own a molcajete to be able to do this. So we're just going to use a hand immersion blender instead. Okay, so, hey, camera, why are you so bright? Relax, chill out. So, cilantro. My friends, I'm actually going to pivot away from this knife. I'm going to use the bigger knife because I'm a little concerned about its sharpness or lack thereof. So, everybody that's already been here, I want somebody in chat to say it for me. How do we do the herbs? How do we cut them and what do we not do? What do we not do when we're handling cilantro, when we're handling parsley, whenever we're handling a fresh, soft herb? What do we do and what do we not do? Somebody needs to know. Whoever gets it is gonna get my recognition. We don't squish them, but what do we do, Rabbit? What do we not do and what do we do? We don't crush them, okay? But what do we do? We slice them. That's right. The first one to actually fully get it. The first one to fully get it. Where is it? Well, it's okay. I'm not going to display it on the screen. My friends, we do not chop herbs in this household. We don't do a vertical motion. Here's what we do. We take it, gather it up in your hands like you're holding a little baby bird. You don't want to crush it. You don't want to squish its brains out, but you don't want it to fly away either. So gently but firm. You're going to gather up all of the herbs in your hands. Also, welcome on in, Fanatic Gamer. You're holding a baby bird. Remember, hold it, bundle it up. Hold it, bundle it up. And then you're going to grab it and you're going to keep it down. Okay? Imagine you're a vet and you're handling a very small animal. Okay, And now, here's what we do, my friends. We slice it. We slice it. We slice it. We don't crush it. We don't chop it. We don't use a vertical motion. We're using a purely horizontal one, and we're using the full length of our knife. You know why? We crush less cells this way. We get to keep the cilantro intact, aromatic, and beautiful, and still get really, really small pieces out of it. We're being gentle, my friends. We're being delicate. Okay? And look, you can tell the cilantro is still nice and bright green, and it's not sticking to the cutting board. It's not brown. It's not getting wet looking. That's because we sliced it, my friends, and we didn't crush it. I never want to see, I never want to see? I never want to see you cut herbs like this. I never want to see that. It's nonsense. It's bullshit. Never do that, under any circumstance. It's nonsense. It's not an efficient way to cut things. My friends, gather it up, bundle it up, bundle it up. Get it in your hands all together. And we're going to slice it up. We're going to slice it up, and we're going to get these beautifully sliced, gently cut herbs, and all of the flavor is going to be in the herbs. They're going to be intact. You crush them, you squish those cells, you release all that chlorophyll, everything that's aromatic and makes the herb taste like the herb itself is going to be out on your cutting board, and then it's going to lose all of its flavor over the course of 5 minutes as it oxidizes. Look how gentle we are. Look how beautiful and intact these herbs still are. Despite the fact that we're going at them with a knife so aggressively. We're slicing them, my friends. And that's exactly what you should be doing too. I want to get a nice fine mince on these. And the only way we get to do that is if we treat them with respect. Treat them with respect, and you get to slice them. That's what I say about everything in life, really. Teacher keeps telling me to get off my phone, but my stream is more important. Keepers? That's right, you tell your teacher. And so take a look. None of the herbs are sticking to the cutting board. That tells us we didn't crush anything. Beautiful stuff, huh? Take your bench scraper, scrape it up, put it on a plate. So we're going to use some for the salsa verde itself, and we're going to use some for garnish. And now the salsa verde itself, with the garlic, with the tomatillos, with the serranos, it's cooking and it's getting really nice and soft. Okay? So we're going to blend it up. It's going to be nice and creamy. We can even do it like sort of like taqueria style, and do it with like a little bit of oil at the end as well if we'd really like to. That's how you get like a very nice, like creamy salsa, but I'm gonna keep it very like a home style. Also, if you don't own this, you should get this. It just overwhelms everything else. Well, guess what? Use less cilantro, mooncake. That's my suggestion. If you feel like cilantro overwhelms it, guess what? You are the one that is cooking in your own home. You have the power to control these things. Okay, my friends, look at this beautifully sliced cilantro, nice and fresh. We're going to blend some in. And then we're also going to just add some after it's... I ended up flicking some on the floor. We're going to add some after it's blended. Okay? Yes, compliments are great. Compliments are lovely. You should get a bench scraper. This thing right here. This is one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. Boop, scrape stuff up, and never use the side of your knife. Because let me tell you something right now. There's 2 problems with using your knife to scrape things up. Number 1, you have the risk of cutting yourself, but that's not the part I'm really worried about. What I really care about is the fact that you'll end up dulling your knives. You'll end up dulling knives. One horizontal sweep like this, especially on a wooden cutting board, there have been studies done about how much and how quickly it dulls your knife. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? So for the sake of your knife, and maybe for the sake of your poor little paws, your poor little hands, get a bench scraper. Get one of these bad boys. It will save your life. Okay, so let's look at the salsa really quickly. It's just coming along beautifully at the moment. It's boiling away, my friends. We're just gonna hit it with some salt. So remember, the tlacoyos, they're going to need all the salt that they can get because the masa itself, the dough, doesn't have any salt. And typically speaking, the salsas aren't too salty, but I'm intentionally going to make this salty so that we're able to fully season the tlacoyo, right? Hit it with some salt. We don't really have to worry about mixing it in. It's gonna mix in naturally once we blend it up. So, jail red, ideally you would learn how to do it yourselves so that you don't have to pay somebody else to do it for you. Yes, yeah, no, boy, same exact thing. That's exactly how I treat all of my soft herbs. Achilles, thank you so much for stopping by. It was lovely to have you. Okay, so this is just going. And again, there's like no minimum or maximum amount of time that this actually has to cook for anything. It's not gonna be anything crazy. It's nothing fancy. It's just like a little simple salsa verde, okay? I'm just keeping it in there until I feel confident that all of the vegetables have softened enough and we've evaporated at least some of the water so it's not too watery. So we can probably leave that going for like 5 more minutes or so. I'll just take a little wooden spoon that I have somewhere, I'm sure. You know what? I'll just use a metal spoon. It'll be okay. Just grab a little spoon and I'm gonna mix some things around really quickly. Yep. And again, you don't want too much water in this just so that your salsa doesn't get too gunny or anything. In fact, that is evaporating really, really nicely. I'm going to lower the heat to make sure you don't get rid of too much of that water. And it has all the water released from the serranos, from the tomatillos, as well as the added water that we put in ourselves. Oh, I realized I never turned off my boiler. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. That was just going the whole time. I was like, why is it so warm in my kitchen? Okay, my friends, let's do a little recap session really quickly. Is everybody ready? I want to hear your chef. Thank you. So, we've accomplished a few things. First thing, we sliced up some cilantro for the garnishing and for the salsa verde. And no, Jack, you'll see when we blend it all together. This is for the garnishing and the salsa verde itself. Additionally, we made this beautiful thing of masa. So just a nixtamalized corn mixed with some water. Okay, and now that's just resting and hydrating. And on the stove at the moment, we have going the salsa verde itself. And so after we char the vegetables, okay, remember, we char things. We char them as often as we can when we're doing Mexican cooking, because that's how we get the smoky element into things. Okay, we burnt the tomatillos, we burnt the serranos, we burnt a little bit of garlic as well, we added some salt, and now we're boiling it down with some liquid, and then we're going to take a blender to it. Ideally, you'd use like a molcajete, but I don't have a molcajete for this. We're going to just use a blender, and we're going to get a nice, chunky, delicious little salsa. In fact, I'm going to toss in some cilantro just before we do that, and I'm going to get the hand blender ready. Okay? That's all it takes to make a really delicious, simple salsa verde. You don't have to go crazy with something like this, my friends. You really don't have to go crazy at all. Okay? Cooking can be so simple, it can be so easy. As long as you just have the good ingredients and you understand where and when not to do things. More than anything, in cooking, I am a really huge minimalist, okay? But I like to apply a lot of technique to the things that I have. The less ingredients you have, the more love you can give them. So this is not just a straight boiled salsa, this is a charred and smoky and boiled salsa. And then we're doing cilantro in 2 steps. We're blending some in so you can really feel it throughout the whole thing. And then we're preserving some of the freshness by tossing in just some sliced cilantro as well. We're basically getting cilantro 2 ways. We have all the char, we have all the smokiness, we're getting all the sweetness. We're giving things a lot of love, despite the fact that this is basically only 3 to 4 ingredients. Okay? So, everything in here is nicely softened. I feel confident that this is going to be a good point to blend it. And remember, if you're using a hand blender, the beauty of something like this is that you can blend hot things. If it's a closed blender, let's say something like a NutriBullet, you can't really blend hot things because it creates too much air pressure. And when you blend things that are hot, they tend to break down more easily. If you were to do this in a like a standing blender or so, not like a Vitamix with like an open top, but like a closed system, this has to cool down to a room temperature. You cannot blend this hot. The beauty of having a hand blender just like this is that we get to blend it hot, my friends. And so, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this bad boy in. Okay? And now, oh no, this is gonna splash, isn't it? It's going to probably splash because I don't have enough liquid in here. So this might be a mistake. And so what's gonna happen is, as soon as it splashes inside, I'm going to transfer this to a different container. But first, I wanna prove that it's gonna splash. Ow, that just got me right in the neck. Okay, my friends, that was a mistake. You need a tall enough vessel. That vessel is not tall enough. That just splashed at me. I learned my, ow, that really hurt. That was just immediate. Okay, it's fine. It's okay, we're gonna power through. I'm going to change my setup a little bit. I'm going to just transfer this over to here instead. Or rather, I think I can still do it over there if I set up a plate. Yeah, it'll be fine as long as I set up a plate over there. Okay, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to transfer my salsa components. I'm gonna spoon it in. It'll splash all over the place. We're gonna spoon it in nice and gently. Again, we're not making like a crazy amount of salsa. And the reason it splashed, my friends, is because it wasn't tall enough, right? You need to be able to like fully submerge your like your immersion blender, excuse me, for it to avoid doing that. But it was a little too shallow. It was a little too shallow and that didn't happen. Okay. And then we might actually add a little bit more water to thin it out after, if I feel like it's a little too chunky. Yeah, well, I keep my mortar and pestle dry intentionally so that I don't really have to like wash it after. But I would just like a dedicated proper molcajete for something like this. Okay, I'm gonna take a second to wipe down my station really quickly. Behind me, I just have some oil and stuff from some other things, from some other projects. Okay, let's head back to the stove now. Guys, this was bound to happen. It was inevitable. I make this mistake all the time. Okay. That'll be fine. That plate can take it just fine. Okay. And now we're going to do the salsa part 2. Salsa part 2, my friends. We're going to go ahead and stick it in there, and now it's fully submerged. And now we get to make a beautiful salsa. Nice and easy. We're going to blend it all up. We're going to break down the skins. We're going to break down all the seeds. This has 3 serranos. This is going to be a super spicy salsa verde. Okay. I did forget one component. I did want to throw in some cilantro during the blending process itself. So I'm going to quickly run and grab some now. Okay. Again, and then we're going to finish it with some more cilantro on top. I just wanted some blended in, and I wanted some on top. Okay? And I think we do need a little bit of extra liquid. I'm looking at the amount of liquid that we have, and I'm like, this is a little too thick for my tastes. Right? We want something nice and spreadable to go in everything. So I'm adding a little splash of water. And now we're going to blend it up again. That's much better. High speed. And now we're going, my friends. Now we're properly blending. We're breaking down the seeds. We're getting it all nice and thick. Breaking down the flesh, breaking down the skin. And we're keeping it going. Is everybody following along so far? Does everybody understand? I want to hear yes, chef, please. And thank you. Really simple to do, really, really easy. Nice and smoky as well from everything that we've added in. Okay, we can go a little bit further. A little further, because I want it nice and smooth. But you can go as smooth or as thick as you would like. That is completely up to you. None of this is a recipe, my friends. This is all technique. Okay, lovely. And now, let's go ahead and take a look at my beautiful salsa verde. Okay, there it is. Grab my spoon, mix it around a little bit. And we're going to finish it with some more cilantro. Oh, look at that salsa verde. Look at that salsa verde. Perfect, isn't it? Finish it with a little bit more cilantro, just in there so you get some pieces of it. Not too much, because we're still going to garnish with some. And now I'm going to give it a nice little taste. Oh, that's fucking spicy. Oh shit. That's really, really spicy. Ah, 3 serranos for that much salsa? Oh, that's so good. That is super, super good. Let me tell you, just that one little bit of garlic, just that one clove of garlic was perfect. In fact, guess what I have? I have a tortilla chip, and I'm gonna eat it together. Just that one clove of garlic was perfect. It does not need any more, okay? I'm gonna grab a tortilla chip, I'm gonna dunk it in, okay? So simple, so delicious. And yeah, that's excellent. That, my friends, let me tell you right now, you're getting the heat of the serranos, you're getting the acidity of the tomatillos, the freshness of the cilantro, a little bit of sweetness from the garlic, and then the smokiness from everything. That is a very beautifully balanced salsa verde. It's all about balance with something like this. It's all about balance. It's nice and thick. It's going to be excellent to slather on top of the tlacoyos at the end, okay? I'm going to take a second just to put some things away really quickly. Especially the blender that does need to be like washed off like now, so you don't really mess with it later on. Okay? You just want to make sure you're like submerging the actual like blade portion in a little bit of water. I'm going to put the kettle away. I'm going to put my plate away. So, my friends, we're almost done with making all the different components for the tlacoyos. The next step is going to be working on the refried beans. So let's talk about that right now and everything that we're going to need for it. So, my friends, refried beans is a bit of a misnomer. I like to now think of it as refried beans. What it essentially is just twice cooked beans instead. Okay? So, I have these beautiful black beans. I'm going to show you them right now, my friends. I have these beautiful black beans that I made today. Now, let me tell you about these black beans. So these black beans, super thick, super creamy, really delicious. I did these in my pressure cooker with some sazon. I made these with a little bit of bouillon. I made these with some onion, with some bay leaves, with some garlic and some onion. And then I also added some epazote because I finally found some in my local store, which is this Mexican herb that's super common, but it's not typical to find it fresh in the United States. And my local store had it today. And so, all together, in of itself, that is a respectable bean. That is an extremely respectable bean. However, we're going to take it a step further. And so, I wanted to do chorizo refried beans. When you're doing refried beans, you're basically taking your beans, you're adding some more stuff to it, you're cooking it again, and then you're mashing it up. And it's very nice to have a very good animal fat component. The idea is this. We're going to take some chorizo, we're going to break it up, we're going to fry it, and then in the chorizo fat, we're going to fry some onions, we're going to add back in the beans, and we're going to mash it all together. Okay? And so the cooking liquid is super important because it makes it nice and viscous. It's going to be an incredible refried bean today. It's going to be full of flavor. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so first I have to choose a pan for the job. I think this one will do just fine. I'm going to set this to preheat on a low-medium heat. Low-medium heat. Okay? My friends, we're going to be making chorizo in this. The number one mistake that I see people do when they're making chorizo in something like this is they blast it with heat. They blast it with way too much heat. Also, I have a feeling that's a little better, that's a little centered. So, people blast it with heat. We're looking to melt the fat out of the chorizo. Okay? So, we don't want too much heat right away. I'm going to go ahead and get my chorizo out of the fridge. I'm going to make a little bit of space because we don't really need a cutting board for this at the moment. Okay, let's get that going now. That's my chorizo. Also grab it. Thank you so much for the reminder. I'll get on that right away. I'm going to put my cilantro behind me. Oh, scrubble, is it my red beans and rice? Okay, and so there is no right or wrong way to do this, my friends. All we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of chorizo and we're going to take the meat from the skin. We're going to get rid of the sausage casing on that like little half link over here. Okay? And so, what makes it a lot easier, by the way, if you put it on a sheet and you put it in the fridge, the skin gets a little drier, the casing gets a little drier, and it becomes a lot easier to actually peel it away after a day or two. This I did end up buying today, so that's not going to be as easy, but there is no right or wrong way to do something like this. Okay? All that we're doing is we're just going in there and we're pushing out all the meat. And again, we're preheating the pan. We don't want a cold pan because we don't want the chorizo to stick, but we don't want a hot pan so that it immediately burns. The entire purpose of doing this is so that we get to slowly melt the fat out of the chorizo, and then we get to cook some onions in all that delicious melted chorizo fat. Okay? So we're just peeling the skin away, my friends. We're peeling it away, and we're getting all the meat from the casing. Peel it off. Excellent. There it is. And that's the rest of it. And now we're just going to slightly crumble this up, because if we try to mash it up as soon as it goes onto the hot pan, it's going to release a bunch of liquid, and we don't want that. Okay? So, just help break it up before it actually goes onto the heat. It's going to release too much liquid if you start pressing it before you do that, so just help crumble it up. Give it a bit of a head start by doing it like this. Okay? Excellent. And now, this chorizo is going to be ready to make the refried beans with. Oh, keepers, there are so many exciting things that you can do with broccoli. So many. Many of which I can't get into right now, but what I love doing is always like doing some variation of it. You know, like a charred broccoli. Okay, so, in order to do the chorizo, my friends, we need to give it a bit of a head start. We can't just put this into the straight metal. We want to give it a bit of a head start with just a little bit of oil, a little bit. Remember, the chorizo is going to release plenty of its own fat, and we want to keep as much of that as possible, but we just need a bit of a head start with some fat so it doesn't immediately stick, okay? So we're letting the fat preheat now just a little tiny bit, and remember, we do not want to scorch this chorizo immediately. We want it to slowly melt away its fat and then cook onions in the chorizo fat. Do not rush this process. Do not slam it on a super high heat. You want to hear a gentle sizzle. Ready, everybody? I'm going to show you exactly what a gentle sizzle sounds like. We're putting in the chorizo. You hear that? Gently sizzling. The sound of this is super important. Putting it in, nicely oiled, nicely heated. We're not scorching it into infinity. And now, we're letting it brown a little bit. We're not mashing and mixing it up immediately. Okay? We're just giving it a second. And while we're doing that, we can get started and start talking about the onions for this, my friends. Get started with the onions. Okay. We don't need a crazy amount of onion, but what the onion does in refried beans is it always adds a very pleasant amount of sweetness. And so you see how dry this pan is. You all see how dry this pan is at the moment. It's not going to be dry soon enough. We're going to start chopping up the chorizo a little bit. And the longer it cooks, the more fat we'll be able to squeeze out of it. And it's going to be perfect. You're going to see how special it's going to be. It's what's going to make a refried bean so special. Okay? We're letting it go now, and now it's sizzling away, and it's going, and we're keeping up a medium heat here. We're not blasting it with heat. Okay, back to this, my friends, back to this. Onion, we don't need a lot of onion. This is a fairly big red onion. We're going to need only a quarter of the onion for the actual refried beans themselves. Okay, so this onion, I'm actually going to go ahead and set aside. I'm going to put it into the fridge and use it another day. 1/4 of this onion, or 1/2 of it rather, is going to be used for the garnish, because we want some to put on top. Some like beautiful, like fresh, raw red onion on top. Okay, peeling away the skin. Excellent. So remember, half of this for the refried beans, half of this is going to go into our garnishes for today. And today's going to be a fairly short stream, I realize. We're not going to be streaming that long. Wow. We're getting done with everything fairly quickly. So the chorizo is going, my friends. Okay. So, onion. Let's talk about it. What do we want to do? For the refried beans, I'm looking for a small, medium dice. For the garnish, I want a super, super tiny dice. Okay? The reason I want a very, very small dice, but not like a super tiny dice, is I want to still feel it in the refried beans. I don't want it to completely melt away. But for the garnish, I want super, super tiny little slivers of onion. So here's what we do. We make incisions. Look at this. We're fanning out the onion. And then, okay, we give it a 90-degree turn. We flip it over on the other side, and we continue to make these little incisions. This is going to be for the refried beans. And now we take it, and we slice it up. And look at these beautifully cubed bits of onion. Gently pull, gently slice it up. And that's going to be for the refried beans, my friends. The biggest mistake that I found that you can make here is just using too many onions. I don't like having too many onions in my refried beans. It makes it too sweet. It makes it like distractingly sweet. You don't really get, you want the beans above all else to shine, right? The onions and the chorizo, they're purely flavoring components for the beans themselves. They're not the main component. Okay, so once again, 1/4 of a red onion, not too much onion. I want my beans to shine today. Okay? And so I'm just going to go ahead and scoop this up on this plate. Nice and easy. Plop it in. And again, that's all going to go into the refried beans themselves. And then we'll also work on the garnishing onion in just a second. Let's go back to the stove. Would I ever dye my hair the same color as these onions? Maybe. That's not a bad color. It's like a purple red kind of deal. Okay, and now we're just continuing to chop up any of the big pieces that are left over. And so my friends, you can see the longer we go at this, the longer we cook this chorizo, the more moist the pan becomes, and the more fat of the chorizo we're actually releasing. We want this to properly fry in its own fat without developing too much color. If we develop too much color and we burn it, we don't get to fry the onions in the fat. Simple as that. Okay, before I actually... yes, you do fresh thyme in them if you have some scribbler. Absolutely. Before we move on to that, I'm going to do a little bit of garlic as well. Okay, I want some garlic in my refried beans. So, my friends, as always, we'll be using my favorite tool for the garlic. We'll be using a nice little garlic press. Okay, garlic cloves. We're gonna do like 2 big ones. Okay, two big garlic cloves. Again, I just want this to flavor the beans. I don't want them to become a distracting element in any shape or form. Okay, got that ready. Got that ready. Excellent. And I'm gonna glove up because this is where it gets sticky. Oh yeah, and I can hear that chorizo going. You can hear the sound of it. It's bubbling away. It's frying in all of its own fat. It's looking incredible at the moment. Okay? So, once again, I love using my bench scraper to actually press and flatten this garlic as opposed to my knife because I don't risk cutting myself. Excellent. And once you do that, the skin just pops out nice and easy and you expose a lovely little garlic clove every single time. Oop, that one's a little papery. And it should, in theory, just pop on out. Well, mostly pop out at least. This one's being a little bit stubborn today. I could have smashed this more. Okay, and now all we're going to do, we're just going to chop off the dried off butt ends of the garlic. Welcome, Dean. Welcome on in. And then we're gonna do a little recap after. I'm going to quickly stir up my chorizo again. It's slightly sticking to the pan now. Okay. I don't want it to scorch or anything. I just want it to continue to release its own fat into everything. In fact, we might even just do the onions right now. We're not going to take the chorizo out or anything. We're just going to do the onions alongside the chorizo at the same time. Okay? So we're adding that in. Excellent. That's what I'm talking about. We're just letting that go. We're letting some of the juices of the onion begin to sort of deglaze and scrape up any of like the stuck chorizo bits. Okay. Garlic. Where's my lovely little garlic press? There she is. Take it and press it. Take it and press it, nice and easy. I love my garlic press. I highly recommend everybody invest in one. It changes your life. Huh. Okay, that's that. A little bit more has to fit in there somehow. Except this one's not necessarily the best design. It's a little old. I'm sure I can get a better one somewhere, but that's okay. Sweet. Okay. My lovely minced and pressed garlic. Take all of it out now. Okay, and that is now 2 cloves of garlic that we have fully pressed. And I'm going to go ahead and rinse this under some water. Make sure I have no stuck bits on the inside or anything. Lovely. Okay, that's all of the prep that we actually need to do for the refried beans. Okay, the beans themselves are fully seasoned. I don't necessarily want or need any more spices in them or anything. We cook them with a lot of flavor. And now the onions are going, my friends. They're frying and they're soaking up all of that beautiful chorizo fat. Only thing I'm going to do, the beans are going to need a little bit of salt. So we're gonna hit this whole thing with a little bit of salt. Otherwise, the beans are fully seasoned to my liking. We're just keeping it going and we're just trying to get the onions nice and soft, nice and fried, and then we're gonna add the garlic in. We don't add the garlic in at the same time because it has a high susceptibility to burning, of course. Okay, and we'll do a little recap in just a moment. Today's a very simple stream, my friends. Today's very chill, today's very comfy, it's very cozy, okay? Does anybody have any questions so far? I know we're like winding down a little bit, we're slowing down a touch. If anybody has any questions, this would be a really good time to throw them at me, and I'd be very happy to answer. Just gonna wash off this plate really quick. Boop. Okay, so white or orange rice, keepers. In this case, we're just doing no rice at all, but typically, I feel like I don't know how to choose. They're just two different things. They have completely different uses. Subdued, yes. Typically, my mom's gonna be gone for a few days, but I cook for myself and my mom, and I of course cook for friends and anybody else who visits. Would I do some classic German food once? I mean, we already did the Spätzle a few times, haven't we? I feel like that's pretty classic German, Jack. But yeah, I would like to do more German food in the future. Okay, so the bottom of the pan is getting pretty dark. We don't want to push this too much further, otherwise it begins to scorch. And now we're going to do the garlic, my friends. So 2 cloves of pressed garlic that we have. We're going to dump it in now. Okay? And again, all of this is for the sake of making some really delicious filling for the tlacoyos. And the garlic, we don't add it immediately because, again, it has this high susceptibility to burning. If we add it in too early, we'll just get the taste of scorched garlic through everything. The onions need some time, the chorizo needs some time. Beautiful. Just giving it all a second, about 20 more seconds, and then we're going to go in with my beans, my friends. We're mixing it around often, okay? Oh, indeed, we've done like 3 Spätzle streams. I love doing Spätzle. Okay, that to me should now be some perfectly fried garlic. I don't want to push that any further. And now I'm going to be going in with all of my beans, my friends. Plop it in. Get it in there. And use the liquid of the beans to basically deglaze everything, to scoop everything up. All the stuck bits on the bottom, all the dissolved little protein bits, anything that's stuck, we're using the beans to essentially move it all around. Okay. All of the liquid. And so the liquid, the bean cooking liquid, is what makes the whole thing really nice and viscous. We're going to evaporate any of the additional moisture so we get a very nice, dense paste. Okay. Rabbit, hope you have a lovely night. It was lovely to have you. Okay. So my friends, once again, we're looking for a dense paste. We're looking for something typically a little thicker than the runny refried beans that you might be used to. And the reason for this is because this has to be suitable enough to be stuffed into the tlacoyo. Okay? So we're slightly adjusting the texture here. And normally, again, you wouldn't necessarily even do this with something like refried beans. You would just do some mashed black beans. But I wanted to inject some more flavor into everything. Right? I wanted to do something very, very special today. And so now the goal is this. We want to essentially cook these and soften all of this enough that we get to mash it up into a beautiful paste, my friends. And we have the addition of the chorizo fat, we have the addition of the onions, and we're going to do a little bit more salt, because it needs it. And I'm going to transfer over to my silicone spatula, so I get to easily scrape things up. And then we finish it with a potato masher, essentially. A little bit of salt goes a long way. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't really need this anymore. We're transitioning on over to my silicone spatula now. And then we could also do some oregano at the end if you'd really want. But I think this has plenty of flavor from the sazon and the epazote and everything. So the only goal now is I just want to continue softening the onions. I want to continue cooking the chorizo. And I want to continue softening the beans and evaporating any excess liquid. Because again, I want a paste. Super delicious. And I know this doesn't look necessarily that appealing at the moment. Once we mash it up, once we stuff into the Tlacoyo. I messed up on my pronunciation for a sec. It's going to be lovely. So again, we're just cooking this along and we're scraping it up. We're making sure it's not sticking or anything. And then once it cooks down a little bit, once it gets softer, we'll be able to mash everything up, my friends. Is everybody following along so far? One last little bit of prep that we need to do is we have to prep the rest of the onion. So, remember this little red onion that we set aside? Take it. We're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do a micro fan. We're going to do a bunch of super, super thin little incisions on this bad boy. Right? Super close together, super thin as you can realistically get it. Because this is for garnishing. And for garnishing, I love having really, really thin red onion. Okay? And now we're going back in. And now we're going back in. We're keeping it super, super thin. Okay? We're keeping it together in case it falls apart. And now, my friends, and now, take a look. Look how fine my beautiful little cubes of red onion are. Excellent, excellent. Little, tiny, thin shavings. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of onions that I like for garnishes. Normally, I'll never do onions that are that pretty or that fine. But for a garnish, I don't want like a big chunk of raw red onion. Okay? Because it gets like really quite pungent and in an unpleasant way. Okay. A little bit more. Perfect. That is what I call an onion ready for garnishing. Okay. I'm just gonna grab that. I'm gonna scrape it all up using my bench scraper. And now I think that's all of the prep that we needed to do for today. I'm going to go back to my beans and we're going to do a bit of a recap session. And we're going to keep cooking my beans. Yeah, it's starting to stick a little bit to the bottom. You don't want that. You don't want your beans to scorch or anything. So make sure that your heat is kept on low. And the goal is to dry this out, right? Because it still has plenty of liquid. We don't want any saucy consistency. We want basically like a paste. Once we mash all of this together, we want a paste to be able to stuff into the tlacoyos. Delicious. It's getting there. We're slowly drying it out. It's almost at the consistency that I wanted. Be nice and patient. Nice thick beans, my friends. Nice and thick. Just like the one that got away. Thick. Sorry. You probably didn't want to be reminded of that. Okay. I'm taking a second to clean up. I'm taking a second to put some things away really quickly. Just wiping down my station, wiping down my bench. I'm going to throw my cutting board into my dishwasher as always. Just make sure that's done and ready to go. And so after the stream, my cleaning is going to just take a second. And again, we're moving this around. We're scraping it up often, right? Because we don't want these to stick. We don't want these to burn on the bottom. We just want to slowly starve this of any remaining excess liquid. We don't want it to drip out of the tlacoyo, and it's going to firm up a little bit more as it cools down. Okay, guys, that bean is so delicious. You have no idea how good that bean tastes. You have no idea. Okay. Almost done with my cleaning, my friends, and then I'm going to do a little recap session for all of you. So let's take a look. That's like that. That's perfect. That's like that. Excellent. I'm going to transfer that to a different container really quickly. Do I have any more Tupperwares I can put this in? I do. Sweet. What vegetable would look best? I'm not really sure what you're asking me. Okay. Ah, excellent. That's that. I'm just continuing to scrape up my beans, my friends, right? Just to stop it from scorching on the bottom. And we're just slowly cooking out any of the excess liquid and getting it nice and soft. Okay. Is everybody ready for a recap session? Is everybody ready to go? Is everybody ready to activate? Is everybody ready to mobilize? So we're entering the final stages of making the tlacoyos. And we're making everything from scratch, everybody. This is the epitome of home food, okay? Everything from scratch. So, the other day, I made this. This is some homemade queso fresco. Homemade queso fresco. I had a quart of milk. It's delicious, it's sweet, and tlacoyos are traditionally served with a little bit of queso fresco on top. Super simple, super easy to make. Next time I'll do some on stream. Homemade cheese. Okay. This is my homemade salsa verde. Tomatillos, serranos, a little bit of garlic, blended it all up, and added some cilantro at the end. It's aromatic, it's delicious, and it's going to make an excellent garnish for the tlacoyos. Some cilantro and some red onion to put on top. And then to actually make the tlacoyos, I have over here some of my beautiful masa that has been slowly rehydrating, and soon it's going to be ready to shape and fill and stuff with what we currently have on the stove, which are my chorizo beans. I made some beans, we refried it with some onion and some garlic and chorizo, and it was cooked with epazote, and it was cooked with sazon and so many different flavors, and now that is ready to go. Delicious. These beans are to die for, my friends. They are actually just to die for. Okay. Everybody, before we actually begin the mashing session, really quickly, I have to do my due diligence. I have to do my plugging. Everybody, grocery costs are expensive. If you can, please support me on Patreon. You can type in !Patreon in chat. If you would like, you can scroll down to the About section. You can scroll down, just down, and you'll be able to find a link to it. I'm not gatekeeping any sort of private information. The only thing is there's a special private Discord server, but I'm not going to do anything like private videos or private recipes, because I firmly believe in keeping these streams free for everybody to watch. I want to make sure that anybody can watch this, regardless if they have the money to pay for it or not. And if you have a little bit of excess money, if you can, a little bit of support on the Patreon will go a super long way. It helps to cover the cost of these streams, to do them 3 times a week, every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So if you can, please and thank you. It'd be really appreciated. Okay, and then additionally, if you want, you can also do !tip or !donate as well. You can sub on Twitch if you would like as well, but anything and everything helps. Okay, enough of that. Everybody, let's get back to the beans. So, we're gonna shut off the heat, and we basically cooked out any of the excess moisture that I did not want present in these. And you could stuff them as is, but I want a bit more of a uniform texture. I know it doesn't look too appealing right now, but trust me, once they're stuffed into the tlacoyo, it's going to be perfect. Okay? And now we're just gonna go at these with a potato masher. This is gonna help give us that nice, delicious, like thick bean paste. And this is drier than your typical refried bean intentionally. You don't want this too wet, you don't want this too runny. If it's too wet or too runny, it's not going to stuff correctly. Right? You want it to be able to stand up on its own, and it's going to firm up even more as it cools. Again, the texture of this is pretty essential. It's pretty key. So we're mashing it up, we're getting it done. You can even do this in a blender if you want to be weird about it, but this is more than fine for this amount of beans. Okay? It's all coming through, it's all coming together. I want a nice, delicious, uniform bean paste. And then we'll begin the stuffing process, my friends. I'm excited. I'm really excited for today. Whew. I'm actually just gonna put some stuff behind me really quickly that I do not need anymore. Whoop. Throw that over here. Throw this into my dishwasher. And I'll set it on after the stream. Okay, we're continuing to mash it up. We're mashing it up, my friends. Okay? We're getting all of it done. Almost done. And again, you can go as fine on this texture as you would like. You can go as thick as you would like. You can do whatever you really want with these. I want a fairly uniform texture to stuff into my tlacoyos. Okay, nice and thick. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a sauce consistency. I'm not looking for it to be runny. I'm not looking for this to be wet. I need a paste. I need a nice, thick paste, my friends. Okay? Almost done. I'm almost there. I'm almost to the uniformity that I want. You can take this as far or not as you would like. Oh yeah, some more beans that I haven't gone through yet. It's purely a matter of personal preference. You just want to make sure it's thick and dry enough. Okay, that's exactly where I need it to be. And now we're going to, wait. My Wi-Fi or yours, keepers? Whose Wi-Fi is cutting out? Please don't tell me it's mine. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a nice big bowl. Okay, and all I'm going to do is just scrape out all of this. Mine? Wait, oh shit. Wait, guys, is my stream doing okay? Am I dropping frames? What's going on? Did my stream disconnect? Uh-oh. Wait. Okay. Okay, stream is fine. All right, I freaked out. Great, thank you. I'm glad. Whew. Guys, scared me for a second. Okay. The beans, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transfer them over. Nice and thick. This actually is not the most ergonomic angle I could have gotten, but that's okay. Plop them in, and that's going to be a filling for the Tlacoyos. Okay, almost done. I probably made too much of this, but that's okay. I have no problem with that at all. I'll just be able to snack on it later on. Okay. Excellent. Woof. Okay. Everybody, we've done it. We have made every single component that we need for the Tlacoyos, and now it's going to be stuffing season. So, also welcome on in, Juicies. It's lovely to have you. So my friends, it's time for us to get the station set up. I'm really, really excited for this. First things first, we gotta go back to the stove really quick. This we no longer need. I'm going to go ahead and submerge this in some water. I'm gonna submerge in some water because it is beans. It tends to dry out really easily. Man, that stuffing I made is no joke. That is some of the best I made in a while. Wow. Hopefully I don't have any on my face. I just cleaned off the spoon. Ooh. Oh no. Almost, I got my microphone wire caught on a door frame. Okay. And we're going to be doing everything, my friends, in a lovely little carbon steel pan. Okay? So, the temperature that you're doing this at is not going to be the same as if you're making tacos. It's not going to be the same. Tlacoyos, you have to actually be a little bit more patient. So we're only going to cook these on like a medium heat or so. We want to get the bottom of it crispy, but the goal is to cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes per side. If you remember how we did the tortillas, we did that for 40 seconds per side. So the heat on this is going to be way lower. But before we even think about preheating it, I want to do my first Tlacoyo. Once again, my friends, we have everything prepped. This is going to be the filling. This is the beautiful bean paste. This is going to be the garnishes. We have some lovely red onion and we have some cilantro. Then we also have the Queso Fresco, which is going to go on top at the end. Okay? And then we have my delicious homemade Salsa Verde. Okay, look at this. Made with serranos, made with tomatillos. Look at the color on it. Look how beautiful this is. Also, welcome on in, Tule. And it's so smoky, it's so delicious, and it was so simple and easy to make out of such cheap ingredients. Never buy store-bought salsa. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, and the beans that we made, my friends, I know it doesn't look the most appetizing, but let me tell you, this bean paste right here, homemade black beans cooked with epazote, cooked with some sazon, cooked with some broth, cooked with some bay leaves, and then we fried onions, we fried chorizo, and we mixed it and mashed it all together, and that's what this is going to be stuffed with. And now, my friends, it is time for us to begin the great Tlacoyo making. So first things first, I'm going to get one of my favorite tools. This is a cookie scoop. This is how we're actually going to get the beans from the bean bowl into the Tlacoyo. And this will allow us to evenly measure it out. It's going to be great. And then I get to finally play around with my new toy. Everybody, this is my brand new tortilla press. I'm very, very happy with this thing. It's a big, giant hunk of metal. It's a big, giant hunk of metal. And so, it actually makes a huge difference. Having a really big, heavy tortilla press is going to let you have evenly pressed tortillas, or in this case, the actual dough for the tlacoyos. Now, this is not traditional. What I'm doing right now is not traditional. Traditionally, people would do this in their hands. Guess what? I am not a Mexican grandmother. I know. Surprising, shocker. I am not technically capable of trying to shape masa in my bare hands and try to fill it and tie it up. I want nice thin dough, and so a tortilla press is going to help me out with this. This is not traditional. I want to emphasize that, but I am doing this because I really want to get a really good product out of this. Okay, and this plastic bag here is how we help to shape this to make sure that nothing really sticks to anything. Okay, this came with the tortilla press itself. It's wonderful. It's lovely. okay? And we want to center this. We want to make sure that this is exactly in the center, okay? Or we could also have just cut out, oh wait, did you just cut out this part of it? Oh, was I silly about this? Also, there's a little something here that shouldn't be there. What is that? Okay. I think I should have cut this out beforehand, but I don't really feel inclined to do an arts and crafts project at the moment. So we're just doing our best to center this whole thing, center this contraption. And now we're going to take a ball of masa. Remember, this was the homemade dough that we made ourselves. Okay? A little bit of maseca, a little bit of water. And we want these to be bigger than our typical tortillas. Yes, this is a fancy new press. Thank you to somebody in chat who got it for me. Everybody, check out my wish list if you can, exclamation mark wish list. I'm trying to crowdfund a couple of big things that I could use for the stream and for home. Okay, I'm looking for a fairly big tortilla, or a big old ball of pressed dough here. And the reason for that is because we need it to be able to accommodate all of the filling. So this has to be bigger than our typical tortillas that we make ourselves. And so this is my first time using this press. I've never used it before. We'll see how it works out. We take a little ball, we're going to put it directly into the center, okay? Right into the center. I didn't measure the weight of this, even though I probably should. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to press it down now. And we're going to exert a little bit of pressure, a little bit of force, and see the tortilla that we get at the end. Okay, what happened here? It's a little lopsided. It's not exactly what I was thinking about. I think my plastic ended up spreading a little bit. But you know what? Let's just give it a little rotation and see what comes out after. If it's a little misshapen like this, that'll actually be completely okay for today. I don't mind that at all because it's going to be football shaped. Okay? We're going to take it, we're going to press it. Again, it's my first time using this equipment. I'm completely new to it. Okay, that is a nice big mound of tortilla dough, or rather the masa. I'm okay with it being this big, and I'm okay with it being slightly misshapen, because the goal of this is for us to be able to fill it up. And we're going to fold it up. And I'm looking at this and I think we actually do need a little bit more masa on the next one, but let's just try. Everybody, let's give this a shot. If we mess it up, we mess it up. You know, this is what life is about. It's about experimenting. So let's do 2 scoops of my bean filling. Let's do 2 scoops of it. Right, I might be overfilling it slightly, but let's see how it works out. Let's see how it works out. Okay, 2 scoops of it right in the center. Is everybody ready for this? Then we're going to just take it and we're going to slightly spread it out a little bit. I know it doesn't look the most appealing, but we're going to make it appealing. Don't you worry. We're going to take it like that. Okay, now, here's what we got to do. We take this side, and we fold it over. Okay, I think I'm going to have to cut up the plastic after this, because this plastic can't do. That's one side. Again, it's my first time doing this in 8 years. I did this last when I was in Mexico. Fold over the other side. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. And now, the goal is to essentially, so I think I overfilled it on the sides a little bit because it should be kind of flattened over a little bit more. Let's see if we can pick this up in our hands. We can pick it up in our hands. It's been a while. I think I might have overfilled this slightly, but what's the point if we didn't overfill it slightly? Almost like a paper airplane. Ah, I tore my dough a little bit. That's okay. It's just some masa. This is not the prettiest tlacoyo, and this is way too thick. Okay, everybody, if I'm doing this much masa, I'm only doing 1 scoop, because that is breaking apart. That is not what this is supposed to look like at all. Okay, I messed up on this. We're going to still cook this and stuff, but this is not what I was looking for. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. I'm going to set this behind me. This is our first one, and that's okay. So what I think I needed some more masa, and I needed a little bit less filling. I overfilled it. I 100% overfilled it. Because it has to be flat. It has to be able to lie flat. Okay? So let's do little arts and crafts. I'm going to go ahead and just snip this in half really quick. Okay. First one's always a little ugly. It's fine. It happens with things like this, you know? Come on, buddy. Oh, these kitchen shears suck. They're just not cutting at all. I just had the wrong side. Okay, this part doesn't matter. I just want to be able to cut this out into 2 sheets. And then we're going to cut a circle out of it. Yeah, the first one, guys, remember, with stuff like this, the first one you always mess up, okay? So I should have done this beforehand, but that's okay. I didn't get around to it. And now, can we go in there and actually just cut out this dotted, alongside this dotted ring? Like the first child, you always mess it up. So true, Jack. Yeah, that was my first born. Guys, I'll do a better job with my second born. I promise. Okay, little arts and crafts time. We're gonna cut out a nice round. This is going to be the ugliest cut you've ever seen, but that's okay. I'm gonna move. Ooh, I almost dropped my tortilla press off my table. Okay, it's okay. But I know what to do next time. I know exactly what happened and what went wrong. We just ended up, ooh. These scissors suck. Do I have any better scissors that I could use? They're just not able to cut through anything. It's not my technique, I swear. Okay, I have some different scissors. Let's see if that'll work out. I should have done this beforehand. I neglected to do so. What is going on with these scissors? I'm not able to get a good cut on these at all. Yeah, I'm gonna just add some new kitchen shears and it'll be fine. Okay. Can you sharpen them? Scissors? Not particularly. Okay, I just want to be able to cut this out, man. This is not what I want to do when I'm cooking. I was never good at this growing up in school, and I'm still never good at it now. Okay. Oh yeah, now we're getting into the flow of things. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we're almost done. We almost did it. We almost went all the way through. Everybody, thank you for being patient through this process. Again, this is pretty important so that the actual masa itself does not stick or anything. Okay? Okay, that's fine. That's good enough. That's one. And now we have to do the same exact thing to the other side. Oh boy. Yes, dude, my favorite. All right, let's do the other side now. All right. I don't enjoy arts and crafts much. Amazing cutting, impeccable angles. Thank you. I try my best. I'm not a pastry chef. It's what pastry chefs do. Use scissors or something. That's my stereotype of them in my head. Hey guys, is there an arts and crafts category on Twitch? Am I allowed to be a food and drink streamer if this is what I'm doing? Riveting content, I know. I'm so focused. I'm so bad at this. This is okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle either. It just needs to be usable. Why don't they already come pre-cut from Hacienda? Why do I have to do this myself? Okay, okay. I'm not following the dotted lines at all. I'm too impatient for that. I got places to be. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Yes, dude. Yes. We're getting it done. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it, my friends. Whatever, it's fine. I did it. Okay. We have two. Chat, let's get some pogs or something with a good job, chef, because I need to feel better about myself after doing that. I need to feel better about myself desperately after this process. Okay. So, my friends, look at this. Now that we have this bad boy in here, we get to fill this up just nice. Thank you. Look at that. Okay. Pog chef, perfect. That's what I want to hear. Guys, I needed the validation after doing this expeditiously. It's important. Okay. Okay. Is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the correct one? So we make one and we adjust it. I haven't made these in a super long time. So we're going to take this bad boy. We're going to fill this bad boy up with masa. Okay, we have another bowl ready to go. Okay. And we're not going to overfill it this time. We're going to resist the urge to do so. And now look at this. We take that, and we sandwich that over. Perfect. That's why we were supposed to do that to begin with. And it's nice and heavy, and naturally gets the job done. And now, we take it and we flatten it. It's Flat Fuck Friday. Well, no, it will be on Friday. Not today, though. Okay. Look at that tortilla. So, I think my dough is a little drier today as well. But that's okay. We'll get better at this. Okay, look at this big, beautiful sheet of masa. We're going to peel off this top layer now. We're going to set that aside, save it for later. And now, we're doing just one scoop, one big scoop of my filling. Okay? One big scoop of it, right into the center. And I'm going to press it down slightly. I'm going to make sure I'm just spreading it out a little bit, I guess. Maybe the cookie scoop isn't the best tool for this, but we'll see. Just one scoop of filling, my friends. One scoop. Okay, and now look at what happens, look what happens. Now that we have the correct ratio, you fold it over. One. These are the world's tiniest tlacoyos. These are basically tlacoyitos. Okay, it's better, it's better. One. That's not folding the way I want it to. Two. That's a little better, but this isn't the shape that I really wanted at the end. I should probably look up what they look like and look up somebody folding them. I think I should be spreading out my filling a little bit. And now, we're just going to slightly flatten it, just to seal the top of it. Wait, oh shit, I forgot to put the sheet of plastic on top. I'm sorry. That just came out of me. Okay, guys, this one's a little better. I forgot to put the plastic on top. It's almost stuck, but it's okay. The dough was dry enough that it didn't stick. This is not a very pretty tlacoyo, and I think I pressed it too thin. Guys, I'm getting better at this, I swear. It's just going to take a second. But let's just fry up a couple of test ones for now. I'm gonna wipe that down in the meantime. I'm going to take this and I'm gonna turn this on to a medium heat. Okay, medium heat. We're gonna let that preheat a little bit. We're getting better at this. I think I'm going to I'm gonna look up a video on how somebody else makes these, just to see if I'm doing something very wrong with my technique here. Okay, because those are not looking the way that I really want them to. Okay, we're going to Google this, and I'm making them a little too small, I think. Okay, I'm looking up a video right now on my phone because I want to get this technique right. I want these to come out the way I want them to. You know. Actually, that kind of looks like mine. Oh, that's not too far off. I see. Okay, I'm trying to see, is there anything I can pinpoint? Okay, I think I didn't spread out my filling flat enough. I think I'm gonna scoop it, and then I gotta spread it out flatter. Okay, I understand. I understand what I must do. And I gotta bring the corners together and pinch it. I'm gonna completely be changing my technique. My technique is not gonna be the same. But again, we're just gonna preheat this on a medium heat. We don't want the super high heat. We're going to do the next one. Is everybody ready? This is gonna be the one. I swear to God, this is gonna be the one. I'm gonna take a second to just wipe off my tortilla press. Jack, yeah, you can post stream clips in chat. You can do that. I think my dough's a little too dry as well, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. Okay, this is gonna be the one, my friends. This is gonna be the one. I promise. We're gonna roll it up. This isn't coming out exactly how I want them to, right? But again, this is my first time doing these in 8 years. So cut me a little slack. So, I think I can be spreading out my filling flatter. That's what's gonna happen after. My dough's a little too dry. It's okay. Okay, take that, right into the center it goes. Pop that down, And now we're going to flatten this slowly. Excellent. Just putting in a masa. And again, we don't want these to be too thin. We don't want them to break apart completely. Okay? Excellent. So that's a masa. Peel that layer off. And now, to me, I think that should be preheated. That should now be preheated the way it should be. Okay, I'm going to just put one on. That may be a little too hot still. We're lowering the heat on this. Just lowering the heat, and I'm setting a timer for about 3 minutes. These are super tiny, but they're super thick. So I don't think these are actually going to cook right. These are super tiny, but they're super thick. They should not be that thick, my friends. Okay, next, 1 scoop of my bean paste. Okay? I'm gonna put it in here, and then I'm gonna spread it out with a spoon. I'm using that just to measure it. But yes, ultimately these should be spread out a little bit. As long as you don't really get it dirty with other stuff, you can keep it forever. If it breaks, or if it rips, or if it gets dirty with other things that are not just the masa, then you should probably replace it. Okay, we're spreading it out now. We're doing it different, my friends. We learn from our mistakes. Okay, and we're getting it to the end as well, because we don't want to have a bland pocket of dough with nothing else in it. Okay? So all the way. All right, that should be better now. And now these are very small tlacoyos. They're very small. I've not actually seen anybody make them this small before, but we innovate. 1, and now look at this. We take this and we completely fold this one over. 2, okay? And then we bring these 2 corners together. That's a little better. I think that's how I'm supposed to do it. I think it's still a little thick. It's still a little too thick. Stretched out my dough, kind of broke it there for a little bit. Okay, that's a lot better though. And now we're going to just seal it shut. And again, this is why I like doing this in a tortilla press. Just like that. No! Okay, I did not seal it shut. That is ruined. I don't even think I can properly cook that. I think it'll just stick to the pan if I try to cook that. This is hard. This is really hard. Wow. I was not expecting these to be as hard as it is. Okay. How are these frying? Are these frying up okay? Oh, that barely has any color on it. I can probably cook it on that side a little bit longer. How's it doing over here? Oh yeah, I can cook more. Okay. Kitchen timer, put another minute on. I want them to slowly cook, my friends. Okay. And no, we can't really roll this out into a ball again because it's just totally flattened. Right? Like the dough ended up mixing up with the bean paste and stuff. Made a bit of a mess there. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off. I'm gonna get rid of any of the bean paste that could be on this. Okay, my friends, this is a process, but we're getting better at it. I'm learning. We're learning slowly but surely. Okay. Yes, yeah, no, and people do this entirely within their hands. Granted, I do think I'm just making my dough too thin. I think that's what's actually happening here. My dough might be a little too thin. It's okay. Roll up another ball. For tortillas, it would have been perfect. For tlacoyos, I think it's way too thin. So I gotta just press less. Guys, this is new to me. I'm learning as we go. Also, let's see if we can flip these bad boys. Okay, they got a little bit of color. We'll probably put them back on that side for a little bit longer after. And we'll do 4 more minutes. Right, so these got a little bit of color. In fact, we can probably flip them back on that original side longer as well. But they're going. They're going. Okay. Okay, that's one side. Flip it over here like this. And even it up. A little bit of pressure, not too much this time. Okay, thicker dough. This time it's a little thicker, which is exactly what we want. We really don't want holes because that means the bean filling is going to pull out. I still want just this much filling, just that much. I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to take it and I'm going to spread it out really nicely, really gently, really evenly. And we don't want this to be too thick. In fact, I'm wondering if that original scoop is still too much filling. That's my suspicion at the moment. Ho, 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 ho. I really want to get these right. I really want to do these things justice because I love these things. I love them to death. And it's still going to come out tasty no matter what. The structure of it is pretty important to make sure that the dough holds everything together and the dough is not spreading out too far to the side this time. Okay. Okay, that should be fine. Again, first time, not an expert, but I'm an expert in concept on this. Not in practicality though. Not yet at least. Fold it over. Look at the fold. Look at the fold. Respect the fold. Okay. Don't pinch these too hard. We just want to basically pick these bad boys up. Don't pinch them. Don't pinch them. Okay, 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 okay. We're getting there. It's happening. And now, we gently press. We gently press. We gently press. In fact, I barely put any pressure at all. I just wanted to essentially seal it. I just wanted to seal the whole thing shut. In fact, the only thing I should have done is I should have probably pinched these corners a little bit. I have no idea people do this with their hands. That blows my mind to think about. In fact, this probably doesn't need crazy flattening. I just want to see if I can get a little flatter. That's it, that's it, that's it. No more flattening. No more flattening. That should be enough. I just wanted to seal, well, maybe we'll do that side because it's a little unevenly flattened. I just want to seal these edges up. Okay, I'm not even using the handle. I'm just pressing it down slightly. Okay. Okay, how did this one come out? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the shape. Ah, we did it. Okay, we did it, chat. Chat room. Okay, these are a little scorched. Oh no, actually that's just the beans, never mind. It's not scorched. Not at all, in fact. But again, I don't want these things to be too thick, because if they're too thick, the dough is not going to cook through. The whole point is that it's thin enough for the dough to still cook through. Okay, we're going to finish cooking it on that side. I'm going to pop it back on the first side for a minute. Okay. I know, not particularly impressive. These are just too bulky. The ones I currently have right now on the stove, these bad boys are just too bulky. But they're starting to get that hollow sound. They're getting there slowly. They're getting there. Not impressive. I know, not yet. But give me a few more. I think I have like enough for 2 left. We'll see how it goes. We'll even try to do the really, really flat one. Oh no. That might just make a mess though. That is the perfect thickness. That last one we just did, that's perfect. Okay. Let's flip these bad boys over. I should have probably looked up a little bit more on the technique of these things. You know, that one right here, this one isn't so bad at all. We'll give that probably another minute or 2. Just on that side, because we want to get a little bit of browning on that edge. But yeah, that's getting there. That's getting there. Okay, let's try to build another one in the meantime. Again, guys, not the prettiest Tlacoyos. I know that. But remember, it's all a process. We're learning together. Okay, chat? Okay, chat room? We have enough for 2 left. Okay, I want a nice handful of dough here. I'm not measuring them out, although I probably should have measured them out to figure out what was the right amount, but it's okay. Okay, 2 balls of dough left. Let's press it out. Let's press it out. Okay. Grab this. It's time to flatten it. Lovely. Nicely flattened piece of dough here. Let's move on. Let's give it a little turn. Let's do this side. These are more like tlacoyitos, like the super tiny baby ones. But that's okay. I don't think I mind at all. Okay, we're going to get ready to fill that one up in just a second. Oh yeah, that's getting nice and dried out. That's perfect. These are ready to go. I'm going to take these off the plate, off onto a plate in a second. And we're going to fill this bad boy up. Okay, I think we still need a little less filling. That's my vibe right now, which kind of sucks because I really wanted ones that are like super filled or anything, right? But you need a little less than you think you do with stuff like this. Okay, even that might be too much. Okay, let's go back to the stove. I did like 3 spins. I can just go ahead and probably pick these up straight away. Look at that, nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. Excellent. Okay, and then I'm gonna put the other 2 on. Now, doing the really flattened one might be a bit of a mistake. That might just end up burning. But I wanna give it a try anyways. I just wanna try it. I just wanna see how that goes. Catch your timer, 3 to 4 minutes. We'll see what it's like in 3 minutes. But that one actually looks really, really nice. We pulled off one that was really good, and this one looks really nice too. Okay? Okay, let's head back over here. We're giving that a few minutes. This, I'm just going to go ahead and split out. We want to make sure we have nice wide sides for this. Okay? Want to make sure that we have big enough sides. So we don't want to vertically smush it. We just want to spread it out along this way. Just like that. And you want to give yourself enough of the edges that we get a good press and that we get a good seal. Okay, almost done. Perfect. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that splattered one is just like you. I'm glad. There's beauty in imperfection. Okay, let's take this and let's just fold that over. I think my dough's a little dry. That's okay. Next time we'll make it a little bit more moist. Take that. Ooh. Take this side, fold it over. Press it down gently. We don't want to break the dough on the edges or anything. Okay. 1. Too much tension there, Daramgar. Be a little bit more gentle. 2. And let's pinch that corner shut. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Okay. Lovely. Not bad, not bad, not bad at all. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just make sure we're pinching that corner shut on it. We're pinching that corner shut on it. Okay, we're just gonna put it on this side and we're going to barely flatten it. Barely, just a little bit of pressure. 1, that's it, just for a second, just for a second. We don't wanna destroy it. We just wanna get the sides of it nice and flat. Give it a little rotation and we're going to flatten it just for a second. A little flatten, that's it, perfect. And that, my friends, look at this perfect tlacoyo. Look at it. That's what I'm talking about. We're getting there. We're getting the method. The Daramgar method, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to take a little peek on these bad boys. See how they're doing. Oh, they're looking pretty good. How are you doing? You're looking pretty good too, I think, right? Oh, yeah. Hello. We'll put you back on this side for just another second. Yes. Yes, everybody. I'm very happy with how this is going now. All is going according to plan. Okay? Things have stopped falling apart. All's according to plan. Okay, we have one last ball of dough. We have one less tlacoyo to go. Oh, and I can't wait to make myself a plate of these things. One last ball of dough, my friends. Okay, all I'm gonna do though, we're going to go ahead and take these bad boys and we're gonna flip them over. Okay? Take this one, flip it over. Ooh, you know what? Even the smashed ones, they do look pretty damn good, I have to say. Wow, that actually looks pretty nice. It looks pretty tight. Okay, but that shows the importance of flattening that side so that they get a good color on it. Okay, everybody, last one to do, yeah? Oh, I didn't set my timer. We're gonna set like 3 to 4 minutes because we want it to fully cook through on the inside. Whew, that one is full of beans. I want to just take a bite out of it. Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God, holy shit. I'm sorry. I told myself I'm not gonna, nothing. That's so good. Oh, I'm so happy. You have no idea how special that moment was just for me. I have not had this in 8 years, and that one taste that I just had, has brought me back to a memory in a way that I have not experienced in a while. Oh, I wish I did this when I was full. Oh, I'm so happy. You have no idea how long it's been since I've experienced that texture. I'm so happy. Okay, great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, this might just be my ratatouille moment. All right, one big press. Give it a little rotation. Okay, that should be flat enough. I'm happy. I'm one happy dog. That is excellent. That might be too much filling still. We're going to take that. Oh, I can't wait to dress it up. Oh, it's going to be so nice when it's dressed up. Guys, you have no idea. You have not a clue how happy that bite just made me. Oh, I'm with the Salsa Verde and the Queso Fresco. Also, Zen Mode, thank you so much for the sub. You have no idea how that just made me feel. I cannot put words into it because that was a certain level of nostalgia that I was actually chasing that I did not actually believe I could experience. Oh, but it's going to be so good when it's all together. Okay. Spread this out fully. Get a nice thin layer of filling. Nice and thin. Okay. That's it. That's perfect. And now, let's take it and let's seal it up. Let's take it and let's seal it up. Look how perfect this one's gonna be, huh? Okay. That's one side. And this is the next side. Okay. Perfect. Look at this one. Look at this one. This one's super nice. Let's take it and let's give it a gentle flatten. Give it a little rotation. Let's flatten this again. Perfect. Look at this thing. That's what I'm talking about. That is a tlacoyo. And the other ones are almost ready. They're cooking up nicely. I'm just gonna take a little peek at the bottom. Wow, that looks excellent. Even the flattened one looks super, super good. Oh, guys, I can't wait. Oh, everybody, I cannot wait at all. I know these things don't look really, really impressive, but let me tell you, these are so special to me. I haven't had these in so long. I really have not had these in so long, my friends. I am really happy about how this is going today. I'm taking a second, putting some stuff away. Let's take the other ones out. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That's the kind of seal that I want. I'm going to just move these aside now. In fact, I'm going to start just building my plate. I'm going to just start building my plate. I'm going to have 3 of these for dinner. Okay. The perfect ones are for me right now, though. Okay, and now, last 2 going in. Put them down. Remember, nice medium heat. We're not trying to sear the hell out of these. And make sure that it's establishing a full contact. So like really press it down, not your thumbs maybe. Okay, my friends, last ones, it's the final countdown. Oh, I'm so happy about this. I'm so happy about this. You have no idea. This was the very taste and texture that I was pursuing that I have not had in the United States in 8 years. That is the feeling that I'm trying to explain, the gravity of that to me at the moment. Also, my mom is not in town at the moment, Jack. Ooh, I just singed my thumb. Ouch. This last one came out really perfect. Take a look. Take a look. This last one right here, that's exactly what they should look like. These are really, really small ones, but that's what it should look like. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you how pretty it is once we dress it up. I'm gonna show you how pretty it is once it's all dressed up. Okay? My bean filling though, delicious. Okay. Oh, I want a bite of this one that I already have made. No, you guys have no idea. Truly no idea. These do not look fancy. These are not fancy. This is not, fine dining food at all. This is home food, this is street food. But it's so special. You have no idea how that very simple texture of masa, it's so different from a tortilla. It's not the same thing at all. It's got like a crunch to it. Oh, man. That is really, really special. Wow. I'm taking a second, I'm cleaning up my knives. These are gonna just take a few more moments. But really the goal, you do want like that sort of dry masa texture. It is essentially like a Hot Pocket in the best possible way. Except it's not a super complex dough with a million ingredients. It's just straight, beautiful masa. That's all that it is. Oh, guys, I can't wait to plate this up for all of you. Is everybody ready, chat? Are you all ready for the final plating? Because it's gonna begin. We're gonna flip these over, we're gonna cook these for 4 more minutes. I wanna hear a universal resounding yes, chef, right now. Perfect. I wanna see a yes, chef in all caps. I wanna see you guys be loud and proud about it, okay? Because I'm excited about this. This is really, really special stuff. And of course, if anybody has any questions, now is the final time to be able to do so before we transition into the ending part, into the eating part of the stream. Look at that. Everybody's getting so excited. Perfect. Ah, I'm so happy to see all of you. It's great. Love all the enthusiasm. Okay, everybody. So, one more flip. One more flip. Excellent. That's exactly the kind of seared edge I'm looking for. Just, ow! If I touch my fingers on that carbon steel pan one more time, I'm going to be quite upset. 2, 3. Okay, and remember, it was important that we did get a full contact. So we're just like slightly pressing it down to make sure that the dough is in full contact so that all of it gets like a nice seal on it. And that's why you gotta make it flat. If it's too full and it's too bulky, it's not going to get a good contact on the bottom. Okay, my poor fingertips. Okay, I'm not, again, Mexican grandmas, they have the resounding ability, they have an excellent ability to just be able to put their fingers there and without consequence completely. But that's exactly the seal that I'm looking for, everybody. It's such a subtle beauty. Look at the subtlety on this. That's exactly what I'm looking for, huh? You see that like slight charring and the slightly like charred corn? That's perfect. And the slightly dry, doughy texture of everything else. That's what I'm talking about. That's perfect. That's what a perfect tlacoyo looks like. And then I'm gonna show you how pretty it is once we dress all of it up. It's there, my friends. It's got 3 more minutes on it. This stuff is no joke. Lovely. I'm just taking a second, I'm taking a moment to just put some things away while I have a second to do so. Last ones are going. And again, traditionally, this would be done over a comal, right? Just like a very, very big thing of metal over some like open fire or so. And that's how it would get cooked. And this is a lot smaller than I remember them being, but maybe this is the perfect size to make them at home. I think they're really cute at this size. They're very small, they're very petite. Dare I say dainty and feminine. Okay, everybody, one last minute. I'm gonna take a peek at the bottom. Okay, I'm just gonna take a peek at the bottom just to see how it's going. Ooh, the contact on these is incredible. That's a good contact. I might turn up the heat a little bit because I do want some more color on these. They're a little pale for me still. Inside, it's quite viscous, Scully. Inside, it's quite viscous. Also, welcome in. Everybody, this is the final 2. The final ones. We've made it. We're finally here. It's almost done. Okay, 20 more seconds, and then we're gonna take a peek at the bottom, and then I'm gonna see if I wanna flip this one over. Should I stop just using my fingertips? No, I'm going to build up a sense of how to do this properly. Today is gonna be the day, my friends. Today is just gonna be the day. Oh, I'm so excited to do the recap and talk about everything that we even made for today's stream. Okay, guess what? Timer is up. That was the 40 minutes on that one side. I'm just gonna flip it over. I'm gonna see how I like the color. Oh yeah, I like that color a little bit more. I'm just gonna turn up the heat for a few more seconds because I want a little bit more crunch on that one side still. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what a tlacoyo should look like. That's exactly what it should look like. I am so happy about this. Everybody Google what they look like. Now they're usually bigger, maybe a little bit flatter, but that's exactly the shape that I was going for. I'm so happy about this. You have no idea. Okay, just a few more seconds on that one side because I just wanted to get some more color. A little bit more, and it'll be perfect. Okay? Is everybody ready for these? I'm ready for these. I'm ready to eat. You're gonna see how we garnish it? Also, thank you so much for the sub, Aquated. Thank you. Okay. Oh, that is so good for my first time doing these too. That is perfect. Okay, everybody, it's time to plate these bad boys up. It's time to plate them up. Is everybody ready for these? So, again, these may look really, really unassuming right now. You might be like, what's so special about these? But hold on. We haven't, that's my chat tool. We haven't actually plated them at all yet. My friends, the first step in these homemade tlacoyos. Okay, actually, maybe we'll position them slightly differently. Position them like that. Make it really pretty. Okay? First, a nice big spoon of salsa verde all over the top on each one of these. I dripped a little bit. In fact, I might even clean this plate up. Okay, and we just want to spread these around a little bit. We don't really want them to drip off, but look at that, delicious. I'm going to take this and just wipe it off really quickly. Okay, next, we're going to take my homemade Queso Fresco. Homemade, and we're just going to dollop and sprinkle this on. It's a little too wet for us to be able to pick it up with our hands, but we're just going to take it with a spoon and bunch it up a little bit like that. It's okay if some falls off the sides. As much or as little as you desire. I don't want it to overpower the tlacoyo, but actually maybe I can just pick it up with my hands. Okay, that's the Queso Fresco. And then, my final touches, my friends, my final touches. You ready? We have, of course, our cilantro that we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle atop of everything. Nice generous amount of cilantro. And then finally, my friends, we're going to finish it off with some red onion. Also, mate, thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. Everybody, oh, look at this plate. Oh, I'm so happy about this. Okay. Everybody, that's it. Here they are. We've dressed them all up. These are my beautiful, delicious tlacoyos. Before I get into an explanation, first of all, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. Please say yes, chef, if you appreciated being here too. Okay, everybody. So, let me tell you about this dish really quickly. This is a dish that I have a very strong core memory to. This is the dish that started my love of Mexican cooking. I never grew up with amazing Mexican food in New York City. I never did. I'm not Mexican. I never experienced really good Mexican food. When I was 13 years old, I had the privilege of being able to travel to Mexico City, and I made these and I ate these. And this was the dish that blew my mind when I was 13 years old. I have not had tlacoyos in 8 years. In 8 years, I've not had them. And I had them a little differently back then with some cactus on it. But this is a very special dish to me. It is one that is very close to my heart. It is the dish that started my love of Mexican cooking when I really appreciated how complex it can be with how many different layers and yet how simple it can be all at once. Everybody, these are my tlacoyos. Everything that you are seeing in front of you is homemade. Everything here was made by me. First, we made the masa itself. A little bit of nixtamalized corn, some water, we let it rest. We made a big, beautiful pot of black beans, cooked with epazote, okay? Cooked with some bouillon, cooked with some seasoning, some spices, some bay leaves as well. Really delicious pot of beans with some onions. We took those beans and we made some refried beans using a little bit of chorizo, using some fried onions, some garlic, and we put the beans in there and we mashed it up into a paste and we filled these beautiful pockets of dough with all of them. And then we put them onto my carbon steel pan and we fried them on each side and got them really nice and crispy. We made a homemade salsa verde. We used tomatillos, we used serranos, and we used some garlic. We charred it under the broiler, got it nice and smoky, nice and charred. We boiled it down, we blended it up, and we added some cilantro. This right here, my friends, is homemade cheese that I made myself the other day. Some queso fresco, just some milk, a little bit of vinegar, got it nice and separated, got it to drain, and we made some queso fresco. And then I garnished it with some more cilantro and some more red onions. Everybody, this is my take on tlacoyos. Maybe not so traditional with the inclusion of the chorizo inside, but this is such an ancient food. This is a pre-colonial food that people have been eating quite literally for thousands of years. And so, this was the bite that made me really fall in love with what Mexican cooking can be. Everybody, let's now have a bite now that it is properly garnished with everything. Cheers. Mm. 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 That's really special. This is a dish that is really special to me. I have not had this in this way in 8 years. You know, that bite of it that was good on its own. Let me tell you, my friends, the dough, it's beautifully crispy. It's dry in the best possible way. It's got a little bit of crunch to it. Inside, the flavorful, delicious beans with the chorizo, nice and sweet and meaty and unctuous. You might be like, oh, this is getting a little bit dry. Then you have the beautiful salsa verde on top that we made ourselves, nice and smoky, vegetal. The queso fresco as well to cut through all of it, the onion and the cilantro. This is, hands down, one of the best things I've ever made. And I know I say that almost every stream, but this is something I have a very specific memory with. This is something I have a very specific association with. And I did it in a way that is amazing in a home setting. This is great. This just came out beautifully. This actually just came out beautifully. I blew myself away. This is what happens when we have such a simple dish. Everybody, such simple components, but we gave everything so much love. We made everything ourselves. We didn't cut any corners. We did everything from the ground up. We did the beans ourselves, not from canned, from dried beans. We made the refried beans using fresh, delicious chorizo. We made the cheese ourselves. We made the salsa verde ourselves. We made the dough ourselves. Every single component that you see here in front of you, we did it together. Chat, thank you all for being a lovely audience through this. Damn. And you know, let me tell you something. There's this misconception that people have with Mexican cooking that it gets samey. That despite the fact that you're basically using like the same ingredients in a lot of different dishes, that those dishes all taste the same. Let me tell you, even though fundamentally this would just be the equivalent like tortillas with some beans on it, this does not taste the same at all, even if the dough is exactly the same. The texture of this and the proportion of everything, they give you a completely different flavor profile and texture. These are so special. These are so special. Everybody, you have to make these. This was a little bit of work, it was a little bit intensive, but this is really, really special. You will be surprised just how simple all these ingredients are, but how much greater than the sum of its parts it is when it's together. And I think we made a damn good plate too. I think it looked really pretty. I'm invited to the carne asada. Let's go. Sorry, I should not have done that. I have downstairs neighbors. I live in an apartment building. Okay, everybody, any final questions, comments, concerns, anything that you want to say to me? Because we're going to go ahead and raid somebody to finish off the stream for today. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Housekeeping. If you want to support the streams, if you can, if you're financially able to do so, please support my Patreon. I need help to be able to pay for the grocery cost of everything. You do not have to. Nobody is, of course, obligated to do so. Okay, but if you can and if you're able to, the grocery cost, I want to be able to make this a full-time thing, and I want to keep these streams free and accessible for everybody. I want to continue to teach and show people how beautiful food can be in a home setting. Okay. Chef, how do I become happy in life, asks Keepers? Make amazing food, and trust me, you'll be halfway there. I have a much longer explanation, though. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and see who is currently live on Twitch at the moment. Oh, that was such a perfect bite. I'm so happy about that. Okay, who is currently live? Let's go to food and drink and see who's cooking streamer that's up right now. Okay, I'm just taking a second to see who is currently live in the kitchen at the moment. You know what? I think I'm not going to do another cooking stream. I'm just going to do one of my friends, probably. I see my friend Willow is live. We'll go ahead and raid Willow after this. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Next stream is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time this Friday. I'm going to have a new schedule graphic and everything. Just check the Twitch schedule, not the offline screen. Join my Discord if you haven't already done so. Everybody, exclamation mark Discord. Join that up. That's my free community Discord. My Patreon gives you a free private Discord if you want some more one-on-one interaction with Chef. We're going to go ahead and raid Willow. Everybody, thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Next stream, 5 p.m. Eastern time this Friday. Be there or be a squirrel. And guess what? I don't think you want to be a squirrel. I don't. So you don't want to be either. Thank you all for being here. Have a lovely rest of your Wednesday evening. Goodbye.